in July in order to let the Republican Party be assured, from his perspective, that he can be trusted to keep the Supreme Court a conservative one.
Fox's Carl Cameron at Trump Tower.
Some of these names came to Donald Trump after consultation with the Heritage Foundation and the Federalist Society. So this is very much part of Donald Trump's attempt to unite the Republican Party.
This as Democrats in the White House continue to criticize Senate Republican leaders for refusing to hold hearings on President Obama's nominee. An executive action on overtime pay that the administration insists isn't really new. The president raising an income threshold aimed at making more workers eligible. Fox Radio's John Decker live at the White House.
The head of the National Retail Federation is calling the new overtime rule a career killer that would effectively demote millions of workers. But White House spokesman Josh Earnest had a different take.
So this is an impactful way for us to ensure that American workers are paid fairly and to do something that many people have identified as an important goal, which is to put upward pressure on wages.
Under the new rule, which goes into effect on December 1st, most salary workers earning up to $47,476 a year must receive time and a half overtime pay when they work more than 40 hours per week. Lisa?
Thanks, John. At the closing bell, the Dow down 5 points after Fed hints about a possible interest rate hike in June. More new rules for e-cigarettes on airlines. The U.S. transportation chief says you can still carry them onto planes, but you can't charge them on flights, and you can't pack them in checked baggage because of a fire risk. Fox News Radio, fair and balanced.
Guys, if you've been using or wanting to try Viagra but are worried about the costs, we have great news. Now you can finally get real results at huge discounts with our Healthy Man alternative to the little blue pill. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get results for a fraction of the price? Call today and get 40 pills for only $99. Others cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us if you want real results at the lowest prices. Never pay $15 a pill for Viagra when you can get real results for less than $3 per pill. Call 800-729-7081 today and save over $500. You can have those breathtaking, toe-curling moments again and again. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Call right now and we'll rush you your supply delivered discreetly to your door. Just call 800-729-7081. That's 800-729-7081. Again, 800-729-7081.
Survivors of the Colorado theater shooting want to know where gunman James Holmes is being imprisoned. Prosecutors say the victims have filed complaints accusing the state corrections department of violating their rights by refusing to reveal where Holmes is serving his life sentence. Despite a string of recent bombings in Iraq's capital, the U.S. isn't boosting troop levels.
The Pentagon says no additional U.S. troops are needed to protect Baghdad after a deadly wave of ISIS bombings. More than 200 people have been killed in the past week in Shia neighborhoods in Iraq's capital. ISIS is a Sunni Muslim terror group. Despite the surge in violence, Colonel Steve Warren, a U.S. military-based spokesman in Baghdad, says no reinforcements are needed right now.
We don't believe we need any additional security. We believe that the security that we have in place is adequate to the threat.
Warren said the bombings show ISIS has shifted tactics back to its terrorist roots. At the Pentagon, Lucas Tomlinson, Fox News.
One of the Nigerian schoolgirls kidnapped by the terror group Boko Haram over 2 years ago has been found with a baby and now reunited with her mother. A doctor quotes her as saying some of the other girls have died in captivity and that others are still being held. A new study finds a lot of people who put their car up for a payday loan end up without a car.
1 out of every 5 people who take out so-called automobile title loans, that is, they get cash using their car for collateral, don't make the required payment and end up having their vehicle taken away by the lender. The findings are from the Federal Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. They show that the average auto title loan is for $700 with a 300% monthly interest rate. Borrowers who are likely to have cash flow problems to begin with are often unable to repay the loan in full in 30 days as required. Eben Brown, Fox News.
Recapping Wall Street, a mixed day overall. The Dow finishing slightly lower, but the S&P and the NASDAQ higher. I'm Lisa Brady, Fox News Radio.
Here's your ESPN Radio 3-day forecast brought to you by Chief Bauer. Need a cooling expert this spring and summer? Call Chief Bauer Service Experts at 866-EXPERTS or you can visit them online at chiefbauer.com. Tonight, a chance of rain, a low of 46. Thursday is going to clear up, high 70, mostly sunny, a low of 49. Friday, much of the same, mostly sunny, high 70, a low of 49. Right now, clouds sticking around, but it's nice, 69 in Champaign, Urbana.
It is the Tay and J Show. Mike Carpenter in for Lon Tay with Jeremy Warner. And when Lon is gone, you know what that means. Big news. But not just one little bit of news. Actually, a lot of stuff to unpack today. Most of it related to Illinois basketball. Some good, some bad. Jeremy Warner, what happened today?
Well, it was some good news this morning, I think, for most Illini fans. And I think it is a good thing for all the parties that are involved with this. But Dee Brown is officially joining the Illinois basketball support staff. So he's not going to be an assistant coach, but he's going to transition from the assistant to the AD role, which he was under Mike Thomas and inherited under Josh Whitman. Basically, he shook hands and kissed babies, right?
Yes.
He was basically,
and he was great at that.
He's phenomenal.
He's the best.
He's phenomenal at that. But they basically made up a position for Dee Brown. He's the program's first ever director of player development and alumni relations. So that basically explains it all. I mean, he'll be talking with the players, things like that, be a mentor for them, but also reaching out to alumni, coordinating events, things like that. Dee's a perfect fit for something like this. I think this is good for Dee Brown in his career. I know most Illini fans wanted him to be an assistant right away.
And you know what? There still could be an outside argument made for that if it is strictly on a recruiting basis. Yeah. But this is a natural transition to that role. And he's made it clear on our show, even a couple summers ago, I think, where he said, I want to be a coach one day. And even
sooner than later.
Yeah, and alluded to the fact that Illinois would be a great spot to do that. So this is a great stepping stone. Not that he needs that stepping stone, but when it comes to really preparing yourself for that role.
I think most people do.
I would think so.
I mean, some people need to get in the business before they become like a leader, a position of leadership.
For him to be as well-rounded of an assistant coach as possible, yes, this is perfect. No matter what, he could go into a kid's house and recruit them. But when it comes to the actual organizational stuff and just being a coach, I mean, the assistant coaches, from the scouting to the preparation, everything like that, that is something that I don't think you could probably just walk into and excel at.
So he'll be around the coaches, and I think that's a good thing for him, and I think it's a good thing for the staff and John Gross. One, he gets Dee Brown involved in his program. Dee Brown is now doing everything Illinois basketball.
Yep.
I think that is a big positive for John Gross, a program that needs positives in it. Dee was spread out between all the sports, right? He was the athletic department. Now he's devoted to Illinois basketball. I think that's a good thing. He can't go out on the road recruit. He can't be on the court coaching guys during practice, but he can mentor those guys. When recruits come in to campus,
he can meet with them.
He can talk with those guys. So those things, that's big for Illinois. And I think for Dee, he gets to learn some of the things you don't learn. Some of the NCAA rules that he's probably got to understand. Some of the ins and outs of coaching that maybe, he's been around basketball for a long time. I don't doubt his knowledge of the game. I don't doubt his potential as a coach. But he gets a little time to develop those things, right? And watch other people do it, pick out what he likes, pick out what he doesn't like from that staff, add a different kind of perspective. I think this is a good thing for all people involved.
It's not surprising news, but it's something that you can't really predict whatever date this is going to fall on. And with Illinois basketball, you need any bit of good news that you can get. I mean, we keep waiting on Mike Thorne and Tracy Abrams. It sounds as if that may be getting closer. We have an update on that coming up. And then you also get some news on the legal side of things today that, it's weird because before I would call this bad news, and certainly the end result,
I want to say one thing more about
Dee, okay.
About Dee. There is a little bit of awkwardness, right? When Dee Brown was hired by Mike Thomas, it was a smart hire by Mike Thomas. When his athletic department needed some positives, he got that. But there's some awkwardness when fans are calling for him to be an assistant for somebody to be fired.
Yeah.
this calms that for a year.
Yeah.
Right? At least for a year. We'll see where this program goes over the next year, and that'll determine John Gross's fate. But this at least calms that for a year. Gets Dee involved, and that's a good thing for those coaches. So there's still probably going to be some looking over the shoulder over the next year.
Absolutely.
But it calms that a little bit,
yeah.
I would imagine.
Then the other news that came today, and before we get really into it, I have to say that from a fan's perspective, there is something nice about having resolution to things. And
halfway resolution?
Well, yeah, you're right, halfway resolution. Though I think this one, there are very crystal clear elements to it. But when you look at even the 6 year that we're still waiting on for Mike Thorne and Tracy Abrams, that's one thing that we're still waiting on this. We're still waiting on the Jalen Tate thing, but we did get some news down the pike today regarding Kendrick Nunn.
Yeah, Kendrick Nunn pled guilty to 1 count of misdemeanor battery on Wednesday as part of a plea agreement. He was arrested in March, charged with domestic battery for allegedly striking a woman in his apartment. The 2 counts of domestic battery were dropped as part of the agreement. Nunn has been sentenced to 18 months of court supervision, 100 hours of community service. He's going to enroll in an abuse intervention program, write a letter of apology to the victim, and pay a $200 fine. And the News Gazette reports that he admitted to hitting a woman. So this is not... Here's where it's interesting. Illinois has not made a big comment on this yet. They have not. They've released statements saying that Whitman and John Gross have not met and they haven't reviewed this entire case quite yet. But if you remember, earlier this month, Lon and I talked about what Josh Whitman told Lauren Tate. And he said, if the allegations prove true when it comes to Tate and Nunn, there is no place in our athletic program for domestic violence. It is an intolerable offense. I've said on this air that if we find out that they struck a woman, that they should probably not be a part of this program. Now, Kendrick Nunn he was not pleading guilty. He does not have a charge on his record of domestic violence legally, but he admitted he hit a woman. So how does Josh Whitman, a lawyer, interpret that? Was this a statement that he said these things very carefully, or was this more of a general sense of domestic violence, striking a woman is intolerable, and does intolerable mean that he is off the team?
This is where it would behoove him to not be lawyerly in this capacity. Don't parse through this in order to get the best result possible, which for this team on the court this season would include Kendrick Nunn. Now, if this is played down to a misdemeanor, well, it is played down to a misdemeanor. Yes. That is similar to LaRon Black. I believe that was a misdemeanor, and it was through the diversion program that he was able to take care of that with community service. This is kind of the same thing, just more community service hours and a few other things that he needs to complete.
And maybe 10 or 12 years ago, they get the same punishment.
Maybe so, but you know what? To be honest, even before, sad to say, the Ray Rice elevator thing, that maybe that finally opened people's eyes that, okay, this can't be treated the same as, possession of marijuana or something like that. That there are degrees to which you would punish someone, and violent crimes, especially domestic violence, that is just, an absolute zero tolerance thing, or at least it should be. So when it comes to this and whatever Whitman and Gross decide, it seems very clear-cut to me. If he so much as admitted that he did this, and also we don't know necessarily what conversations were held behind closed doors between Gross and Nunn, just between a coach and a player. Yeah. But if this was admitted, then it seems easy, right? He can't play another game.
Well, and the question becomes, Illinois released the Dee Brown news this morning before Kendrick Nunn went to court.
Soften the blow.
Yeah, and I think they would know that Kendrick Nunn was pleading guilty to these things. Did Kendrick Nunn do this because he had an agreement with Josh Whitman and John Gross that if I plead to this, I will be back on the team at some point? Or did he plead guilty to this just so that he doesn't have 2 counts of domestic battery on his record, which have serious consequences, right? Mm-hmm. And could affect his future. Even if his future's not at Illinois, it could affect his future somewhere else where people might not even want to touch him, or the NBA or overseas teams, whatever it is. So a lot of unanswered questions that come from this. But in its simplicity, I would imagine if I interpreted Josh Whitman's quote, I would think he would be off the team.
Yeah.
But I can tell you there's some people inside the Illinois basketball program that think he'll be back. Now, these aren't the decision makers, but it'll be interesting to watch. This is a big moment, not only for John Gross, but for Josh Whitman.
It's a bigger moment for Josh Whitman.
I think so, too, because I would imagine John Gross wants Kendrick Nunn back. One, it's because I believe in second chances. I am a believer in second chances, and I think Kendrick Nunn, I don't know if I don't think he's a terrible, terrible person. I think he made a really, really dumb mistake, and a mistake he should be punished greatly for. But that second chance doesn't always need to be with Illinois or who you're employed by or whoever it is. So I'm not throwing Kendrick Nunn out as a person. I'm not trying. But for Illinois and Josh Whitman specifically, you're talking about creating a championship culture. Well, what is more important? Is it because if this weren't Kendrick Nunn and say it were Jalen Tate, a lot of people would just be, oh, we'll get rid of him. Mm-hmm. But because it's Kendrick Nunn, a kid who can be an all Big Ten caliber talent, I think there's more people, and John Gross more likely is to be like, well, we need him back. But for Josh Whitman, this is where you say, we are not dealing with this. This is an intolerable offense. Let's set the precedent right here. This is what our culture is about, and it's bigger than winning. It's bigger than Kendrick Nunn. It's bigger than John Gross.
I believe in second chances as well, but I also think that going back to that press conference that Whitman and Gross had, that I was very, very disappointed with. And then you see this quote that he gave Lauren Tate. And it would have been as simple as him just saying that. Whitman just saying it's intolerable, domestic violence, zero tolerance here with Illinois athletics. That if that would have been said at the press conference, it would have really solved any other issue that I have with it, because that would have been kind of the galvanizing statement that we would have taken away from that. This goes back to that where I believe Gross used the word mistakes a lot. Mm-hmm. And I know I'm getting a bit into semantics here. But when it comes to domestic violence, I don't know the degree to which it was premeditated, and certainly these are probably emotional things that happen. And yes, I do completely agree with the idea of second chances. But when it comes to women and establishing a culture, like you said, this is truly a moment where you cannot walk back from what you said to Lauren Tate. And even if you hadn't said that to Lauren Tate and you didn't have to walk back from any sort of comment, it still seems very crystal clear. This is a case of domestic violence. Even if he pled down to one charge, he still hit a girl and admitted as much. And therefore, it's
to me, it's still domestic violence. Or are you going to find an out in what you said? I think that I would not agree with that. I could see a thing, Carp, if he had a semester suspension. Would that be enough for you?
No.
If he had a year-long suspension, kind of like Darius Paul did, and that was his big first offense, I can see that.
I could maybe see that.
I could see that, a year-long suspension where you show that there is a definite, huge punishment involved in this, but we're going to give him a second chance. We don't believe this is the kind of person that he is. I could maybe see them getting behind that, but Kendrick Nunn has 1 year left to play, but if that's kind of the precedent you want to set, I could see that being.
Maybe so, but man, this is tough. Again, I think that if you said this and the quote again from Whitman to Lauren Tate in the News Gazette back on, I think
May
it was
1st.
May 1st, yeah. If the allegations prove true, there is no place in our athletic program for domestic violence. It is an intolerable offense. Again, even if you hadn't said that, it still would have seemed to me like a very easy decision. And it might be unfortunate here for Kendrick Nunn. If this were something where Josh Whitman had been in place for 4 or 5 years, if this were a situation where you were winning basketball games, and I know that might sound crazy, but I think it would play at least kind of an indirect role.
I don't think it should.
I don't think it should either.
I think when we talk about these things, one, you need to separate that it's Kendrick Nunn, he's one of your best players. Two, you got to separate that you're losing or winning, whatever that is. And three, you got to separate that some people want an open scholarship for Charlie Moore. Right? You just got to separate all those things. I have a basketball player who hit a woman.
Yeah.
Should he be back on my team?
No. Would be my answer.
I think it becomes as simple as that. Maybe I think there are some nuance in here that we've discussed already. But for Josh Whitman, this is a big test in my opinion.
When do you think we'll hear something? I mean, this is all speculative.
This has got to happen I would imagine they have to review this thing. They have to give it time. They have to talk to Kendrick. Kendrick said they haven't talked really at length about the next step quite yet. I mean, he's got a lot on his plate. I mean, this is a scary moment in his life that he created, right? So he's got to deal with that stuff first. But if you're Illinois, I mean, you got to know what you want to do, move quickly so that you can move on from this, regardless of either way that you go.
I don't want to be a moral crusader, so when you bring up the point of what if you were suspended for an entire season, I don't think that he should be banished from being able to, rectify a wrong that he did. And that would be one instance where I think that the punishment as far as missing an entire year of athletic competition, and then also at the same time, if we talk about parallel tracks, he would still be in school and then also get a 5th year and maybe even get a graduate degree after that. Right. That things like that to improve someone. And if this
might have to go through the university first before it goes to the athletic department.
There's an entire student disciplinary council, things like that you have to go through in order to do that. So I would be shocked, again speculative here, but I would be shocked if he plays a game next year. And then if he does play a game next year, that is something it's going to be interesting to see the reaction from fans. Yeah. Judging by just Twitter, this is a straw poll kind of thing from Twitter and message boards, it seems fairly unanimous, at least from what I've seen, that people say, yeah, he can't play another game. And
we have a poll question up right now on our Tay and J Show Twitter page. What should be the Illini's punishment of Kendrick Nunn? Listen, I hate talking about this, but I think it's interesting to get the fans' perspective on something like this because this is a kid's future, right? But he made a huge mistake, and he needs to pay for it. What's the right price for that?
There's been some talk, too, when all three of these things came out, within 6 weeks of each other, the LeBron Black, Kendrick Nunn, and Jalen Tate thing. It almost got very darkly comic, the frequency with which these things were coming down. I mean, you couldn't help but just say, are you kidding me?
Right.
And that, I think we've talked about on the show before, and I don't know how much this necessarily relates. But when it comes to the legal crime and the moral crime of what Kendrick may have done here, what he admitted to, hitting a girl, that let's put that aside and then focus on the basketball perspective. You're John Gross, and you have these three guys that have all found themselves in legal hot water, and we're still waiting to see what happens with Jalen Tate. That the biggest concern for me as a coach, and also for Whitman as well, looking at this situation, is how much do these kids value the role of being an Illinois basketball player, of being a student athlete here. You could say that for some of the issues with a couple of the softball players as well. It's just been one of those things where you're thinking, do they have any value for the scholarship?
Do they understand what the opportunities that they've earned but are given and the responsibility that comes with that, right? It's like when you get a car. There's a different kind of responsibility that most of us just think, well, whatever. Like, we don't take very seriously until maybe we have that first accident, right?
And does that inform Whitman and or Gross's decision or how they view this? In other words, they have known, I'm guessing, that at least they had some indication probably coming into today that this is what was going to happen with Kendrick's legal situation, and here's how his attorneys were going to approach it.
I mean, this one felt different than Jalen.
Yes.
Right? I mean, when his attorneys were talking, it definitely felt like Kendrick did something. Jalen seems like it's a he said, she said at this point, but they didn't, and they came out and said that she said this, and there's holes in the story. They didn't say that about Kendrick. So this isn't a huge surprise that it's gone this way.
There's a lot of things to unpack here. Later on, maybe next segment, we can talk a little bit about, well, what would this mean on the court? And there's a few things to consider with that, including, does this have any impact or not on Charlie Moore, someone that I know Illinois fans are thinking about. And I do think it is okay, by the way, to sort of...
It's natural for fans to do that.
Well, and I think it's okay to say, okay, on the court, what does this mean? We can acknowledge that what he did was wrong, and I think we all have. And then we can also still, in the next segment, maybe even do this, is just look at how does this affect the team on the court without really, paying a disservice to the severity of what happened.
I agree with you. Also, I have a little bit of an update. We're waiting on the NCAA to make a decision on Mike Thorne and Tracy Abrams, right? Well, I talked with Ryan Squire from the compliance office a little bit about this, so there's a little bit of detail that I think we can get to. If you want to weigh in, we're going to talk a lot of Illini basketball, but I do want to give a shout-out to Illinois golf, man.
Yeah.
We always do the death taxes Bo Ryan, right? Well, death taxes Mike Small's team making the NCAA championships.
How many years in a row?
Oh, man, that's a good question.
Like a 6 out of 8?
I think it's now 7 of 8.
Okay.
That they have made the NCAA championships. But Illinois also won their regional. Like we knew they were going to get top 5 in this thing, even after day one. They shot a 1 over as a team. They shot 4 under yesterday, and a 7 under today to take the lead and win by 4 strokes. They won by 4 strokes. Illinois moving on to the NCAA tournament. It's interesting, the Kohler Regional, it's chalk, kind of like the NBA draft lottery last night.
Yeah.
The top 5 teams that were ranked advance to the NCAA championship.
Where are nationals?
Oh, I think it's in Minnesota.
And that begins
Lon knows.
late next week.
I forgot
right?
what it was. We'll have to look that up.
Okay.
But yeah, that starts in 2 weeks,
okay.
I believe. So Illinois, Florida, Arkansas, Florida State, and Baylor will advance. But we're going to talk with Mike Small. He's going to join us at 3:45. So
Excellent.
I just got that word. So we'll talk a little Illini golf, some better news. But coming up next, we'll talk a little Illinois basketball. If you want to weigh in, you can call the Jupiter's The Crossing phone line or text the Cheap Hour text line at 217-359-2255. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter. Just search Tay and J Show. Download the WSJK app. You can watch our stream live on YouTube. Just search Tay and J Show. You'll be able to see Derek Piper in the 5 o'clock hour. He's going to join us to talk some Illini hoops. Dee Brown going to join us on the phone at 4:30. And if you miss any of the show, you can always get the podcast at espncu.com or find us in iTunes. That's all powered by GTPS Insurance. And on SportsCenter updates today, Nathan DeSutter, who sounds like a real update man.
Yeah, no, he's doing a fantastic job so far.
Update man.
We got a few texts, and maybe we'll hit a few of those coming up after the break. Here, some more Kendrick Nunn reaction. And again, 3:45, Mike Small via phone right here on the Tay and J Show.
The sounds of spring and the smell of flowers in the air, they all add up to Spring Green, America's neighborhood lawn care team. That lush green lawnscape is a result of a reputation earned through consistent performance. They become your favorite through quality service and professionalism. Spring Green will service and maintain your lawnscape with seeding, aeration, fertilizing, weed reduction, disease, and insect control. Now the ease and trouble-free convenience of Spring Green's professional lawn care's full program is yours at savings of 20% for new customers. It's backed by their guarantee of satisfaction. Over 32 years of satisfied customers reflect their commitment to Champaign-Urbana and the Mattoon-Charleston area. Call Spring Green at 217-359-2111 or online at spring-green.com at 217-359-2111.
Gander Mountain is the headquarters for all your hunt, fish, and camp needs. Right now is the prime time to get outside and do what you love. And we've got what you need to make your outdoor adventures better than ever. Don't miss the Red Tag Firearms event, where you can save up to 25% on thousands of rifles, shotguns, and handguns. Take advantage of our buy one, get one 50% off sale on all Gander Mountain camp chairs, as well as dozens of other offers happening throughout the store. We live for this. We live outdoors. Gander Mountain.
This Mettler Fitness tip is brought to you by the Mettler Center, located at Windsor and Duncan in Champaign.
Learn delicious ways to cook healthy foods. Gradually cut down on fat, sugar, and salt in your usual recipes, and watch how your taste buds adapt to appreciate the natural taste of foods. Use citrus juices, herbs, spices, oils, and vinegars to add amazing new zest to your food, while you reduce your reliance on fat, sugar, and salt.
If you need quick advice on a fitness topic, go to MettlerCenter.com and click on Ask an Expert.
Legends Golf Course and Driving Range in Southwest Champaign offers something for golfers of all levels. The 9-hole executive course is great for anyone seeking a quick round of golf at an affordable price. Check out league nights, schedule a private outing, or your company's next team building event. Junior players can learn the game through camps while honing in on their skills in a fun environment. Relax after a round in the newly renovated clubhouse while catching up on golf tournaments or baseball on one of their 6 televisions. Legends Golf Course and Driving Range. Visit them at legendsofchampaign.com.
Over 200 varieties of craft sodas bursting with flavor, from root beer to apple pie soda. The Homer Soda Festival is Saturday, June 4th. Taste the soda, meet the bottlers, and experience Main Street like never before. But it's not just soda. The Homer Soda Festival has mouth-watering food, quality handcrafted vendors, live music, Coca-Cola Museum, classic cars, kids activities, and more. Come on, join the fun. Saturday, June 4th, rain or shine, in downtown Homer for the Homer Soda Festival, bringing generations together to taste exceptional soda.
Uncork Urbana Wine Festival,
Urbana Business Association,
Urbana Sweet Corn Festival,
Urbana Business Association,
Market in the Square Farmers Market,
Urbana Business Association,
13 Thursdays Campus Town Promotion,
Urbana Business Association,
marketing programs, discounts, sponsorship opportunities,
Urbana Business Association,
ribbon cuttings,
Urbana Business Association,
committed to serving. It's what we do for our businesses,
for our community.
What have you been doing lately? Make your way to the UBA, urbanabusiness.com.
Hi, I'm Troy Lands from Lands Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing, your Trane comfort specialist. Right now is a great time to buy a new Trane heating and cooling system from Lands. For a limited time only, we're offering 0% interest until January 2021. That's no interest with equal payments and approved credit for 5 years on any qualifying Trane system. Or, here's another way you can save on a new Trane heating and cooling system from Lands. Trade in your old system. For a limited time, you can get a $1,000 trade-in allowance on qualifying Trane equipment. So pick your best deal. No interest for 5 years or a $1,000 trade-in allowance. Call 1-800-REPAIR or find us online at landsinc.com. And remember, it's hard to stop a train. I'm Troy Lands, and you can count on my company because you can count on me.
See Lands for program details. Call 888-653-0051 for details about credit costs and terms. Regular APR is 28.99% for newly opened accounts. APR may vary. Subject to credit approval. Offer expires June 15, 2016.
When you're heading home, Tay and J are on your way talking sports. Weekday afternoons 3 to 6 here on ESPN Radio 93.5.
330 Sports Center brought to you by Informed Athlete. I'm Nate DeSutter. For step-by-step help to transfer for college athletics, visit informedathlete.com. Illini basketball shooting guard Kendrick Nunn pled guilty to a single count of misdemeanor battery. The senior will avoid conviction if he completes the judge's requirements. 18 months of court supervision, 100 hours of public service, a $200 fine, an apology letter, and a partner abuse intervention course. No word yet on any punishments laid down by the university. On a lighter side, instead of threes, Dee is now in charge of player development and alumni relations. The basketball team announced today that the legend, Dee Brown, is returning to the program, and his duties will include providing guidance to players, contributing to recruiting, and publicly representing the program. Chicago native Charles Matthews announced he is transferring from Kentucky. As a freshman, he appeared in all 36 of the Wildcats games, and many are wondering if Illinois, who gave him an offer last winter, is an option. When it comes to Tracy Abrams and Mike Thorne, the Illini are still waiting. No decision from the NCAA on whether the two injured seniors will be granted an extra year, and because of that, Illini recruiting is at a standstill. Yesterday, the men's golf team heated up. Today, they exploded. They jumped past Florida to take the Kohler regional title by 4 strokes and will advance to the national championships for the 9th consecutive season. MLB, the Cubs, Sox, and Cards all lost last night, and they're going to have to get past the hump this Wednesday if they want a series win. The Cubs need to score more runs. Their last 2 contests, they haven't cracked the scoreboard until the 9th. Tonight, it won't be easy as they hope to get the offense going against the Brewers' best, Jimmy Nelson. The Cardinals' concern is still Adam Wainwright. The starter's won his last 3 decisions but allowed a season-high 7 runs and 11 hits last time out. Facing a Colorado lineup that slugged 46 homers this season, getting Waino back on pace tonight is crucial. The Sox are looking to even it up with the Astros behind the arm of veteran righty Matt Latos. His ERA has risen since his hot start, but he remains 5-0 and is looking to keep his winning ways going. NHL with a 4-0 loss, the Blues and the series, or continue the series.
Nathan DeSutter on the updates. A fantastic job as always. It is the Tay and J Show. Mike Carpenter in for Lante, who was on assignment, which of course Jeremy Werner means big news, and we've been unpacking the Kendrick Nunn and Dee Brown. A little bit of good, a little bit of bad.
This segment brought to you by Tapman's Towing. Your car broke down or you locked your keys in your car. Maybe you need a tire change. Tapman's Towing has your back. They'll take care of you by calling 328-2424. Just want to give a little update on Mike Thorne Jr. As we're sitting here waiting. I decided to call up Ryan Squire from the Illinois Compliance Office. He runs that there, and he's the guy who's kind of in touch with the NCAA involved in this. I've tried to tell people this along the way, but there's not a lot of interaction. There's not like NCAA updates to Ryan Squire in Illinois about, well, we think Mike Thorne might get it. No, there's really no kind of updates. Basically what happens is Illinois turns in the information on Mike Thorne. They make their case or why they think he should be able to get a 6th year of eligibility, the hardship waiver. Then the NCAA reviews the case. They may come back, ask Illinois for more information, clarification, any kind of documents that they need. And then they just make their decision at some point. Ryan told me today there's no participation where we get to plead our case. There's no kind of hearing or anything like that. He said it's pretty mysterious. from our end. But he did say we should know, it should be close. We should know closely when this will happen. It should be real close. We'll have it before the start of summer school, which is June. So what's been the holdup in this thing? I asked him about that. He said everything got pushed back later than we wanted to. The NCAA hasn't been sitting on it. There were some procedural things, it's paperwork and filing. We were trying to work out between the Big Ten and the NCAA. So that kind of set it back a little bit, but it should be any day now. Now, I was told that last month. Well, they were hoping by the end of the school year.
Exactly.
Obviously, the end of the school year has passed.
And it's amazing how there are people's lives that are being held up by this decision. It's things like
many.
this.
Can we count them? I mean, Mike Thorne would be one.
Mm-hmm.
Illinois, the basketball staff, they couldn't go after Merrill Holden, really, right? And he committed to Iowa State because he knew he had a scholarship offer, or he had a scholarship available to go there. Plus, Iowa State's pretty good. Then Charlie Moore. Illinois doesn't have an open scholarship right now. They can't guarantee him that yet. Tracy Abrams, right? I mean, Tracy's going to happen, right? I mean, Ryan told me today that's a given. Like, that should be a given that Tracy Abrams will get another year. So I don't think Tracy's worrying too much about it, or Illinois is worrying too much about him. But that's a lot of people. And John Gross and the staff are just kind of in this waiting game of what can they do, because this is the last day of the signing period that Charlie Moore could sign a letter of intent. Now, Charlie doesn't need to sign a letter of intent. He can just sign a financial aid tender or whatever it is at any point during this process. But there's also a dead period for 7 or 9 days after today where Illinois can't get him on campus for a week and a half. So all this timing is just killing Illinois right now.
Yeah,
But Charlie hasn't made a decision, and I don't expect him to make a decision today.
Okay, and hopefully not within the next 7 to 9 days.
Yeah, I mean, who knows? That recruitment seems a little weird.
Of course it does.
We'll talk to Derek about it.
God, that's maddening. It's really maddening, isn't it? I mean, the funny thing is that it's
even
really...
I said it, Carp. It'd be so Illinois that Charlie Moore commits elsewhere, and Mike Thorne does not get the...
It would be so Illinois.
Even I said that, and I just covered
this sort of procedural minutia with the NCAA. It kind of bothers me more than the overall hypocrisy that is college athletics. Yeah. I've kind of come to accept that, but there's something about organizations that just can't do the simple things.
The bureaucracy of it all.
It's so
right?
easy.
Yeah.
Look at the case. I'm sure, okay, there might have been a form missing. Well, does it really take 3 months to process an extra form? I doubt it. It either is or it isn't. And to me, and not
that's
just
too simple. That's too simple.
I agree. But even just taking the Illini fan cap off, right, and just looking at the Mike Thorne case for what it is.
You could look at the Drew Ott one from Iowa.
Yeah.
That kid couldn't even enter the draft because he was hoping for another year of eligibility, and the NCAA couldn't get him before that. So now he's got to enter the supplemental draft and all that. It's just like, come on.
It's ridiculous. These are kids. I mean, here I am getting frustrated about it. I got to think Mike Thorne, he's home now, right? He's hanging out.
He went home.
Waiting.
What's he supposed to do?
I don't know.
He could go get a contract right now. He could be getting paid right now from some overseas team.
Yeah.
And he can't pursue that right now. Right?
Oh.
There's plenty of overseas teams that need a 6'11" big man, 270 pounds, that could clean up the boards. And, of course, Illinois could use that guy, because they were last in the Big Ten in rebounding. Now they had Laurent Black back. Now you could have Mike Thorne back. You have no idea. You have no idea, and you can't really go after any other options right now.
It's things like this that just make me want to follow professional sports and just be done with the whole college thing. But yeah, it's frustrating for Illinois fans too, because you can't really get in far smaller scale than the frustration that Mike Thorne has or the coaching staff has, not really knowing what their team is going to be. But even as a fan, I don't know what next year's team is going to look like. Now, we might have gotten a little bit closer.
Could look great.
It could look great. And we did a little best case, worst case scenario with Derek last Thursday over at Bunnies. And I gave him the best case. I mean, that's a good roster. That is a really good roster.
And in a Big Ten that doesn't have a lot of great rosters.
Right.
Right? I mean, Indiana, Wisconsin could be, depending on who comes back to Wisconsin.
I think no matter what with Indiana, when you lose a point guard like Yogi,
they'll still be really good, though.
They're still going to be really good. They are not going to be the same 30 points better than you juggernaut that they were last year. Partially because you add a lot, but mostly I think because Yogi Ferrell was just that much of a difference maker. They're an NCAA tournament team. They're a 4 or 5 seed in the NCAA tournament. They're still going to be really good. But when it comes to the Big Ten, it's certainly an opportunity for Illinois to make an immediate jump. And then today with the Kendrick Nunn news, it makes you wonder, okay, well, first off, if we're going by what Josh Whitman said, again, to that article, to Lauren Tate in that article from the News Gazette earlier this month, that it's open shut. That he's not going to play for Illinois this year and maybe not ever again. And then I know that's tough for an on-court thing, but at least it gives you closure.
Gives you clarity.
Yeah, and then you can then pursue other options. But the biggest thing, and the reason people would keep going back to Charlie Moore, is because it would be such a perfect fit on the court if you don't have Kendrick Nunn.
Because you could lock up that point guard position for the next 4 years. He's not going to replace Kendrick Nunn.
No, but
I know, but you think of that roster, I think they'd be able to be a decent roster without Kendrick Nunn. I still think they can be a good team. Kendrick could make that a great... I mean, if he's on that team plus some of these other options, it could be a really good team.
Oh, yeah.
But Jalen Coleman-Lands is a pretty good player at the 2, right? You got Tracy Abrams that can play a little bit off the ball if you want Tijon or Charlie Moore with them. You got Kipper Nichols who can play the 3. You can move Malcolm Hill to the 3. You got Kipper that can play the 4. LeBron can play the 4. Your lineup gets a little bit bigger if you're getting Malcolm Hill at the 3 and Kendrick Nunn's not there, whatever it is. But you just don't have, Jalen can do a lot of great things offensively. Kendrick does things athletically that nobody on this roster can do yet.
Yeah,
Kipper can. I think DJ Williams is a good athlete, not as good as Kendrick. Aaron Jordan's not as good of an athlete as Kendrick. But that would provide an opportunity for him, of course, as well, Aaron Jordan.
Well, and maybe it's not entirely tasteful to look at it like this, but the way I'm kind of thinking of it, strictly on the court, is would I rather have Kendrick for one more year for this chance to make an NCAA tournament and right the ship and get good vibes going again as far as wins are concerned, or would I rather take Charlie Moore for 4 years? You're going to take.
I get that, Carp, but that's not even the question anybody's entertaining.
It's a hypothetical that's
It's
realistic.
a hypothetical for fans.
Yeah.
But you're not going to kick Kendrick Nunn off the team so you can get Charlie Moore.
No, I'm not saying that.
Right.
I'm just saying that there's multiple options here, right? The most realistic option, I think, if we're going off of Whitman's words, is that we are going to have a scholarship available, and it's going to be at a guy who played mostly the 2.
Right.
And can light it up and can score. If there was something that might have been a holdup for Charlie Moore, apart from the scholarship issue, which was the most glaring thing, he didn't even know if he could be on the team. Now it's not only that, okay, yeah, you got another point guard coming in with you, but immediately that playing time that you would have had anyways.
There's shots.
Yes.
There's plenty of shots. And even if Tijon Lucas and Tracy Abrams are here, there's a spot for a guard because you could play alongside Tijon, you could play alongside Tracy.
Right.
Yeah, I agree with that. It's just, I don't look at it like Kendrick Nunn or Charlie Moore.
They are separate entities. In other words, first things first. We need to hear from Whitman and Gross, and if it's going to follow suit from what we saw the last couple times, it will probably be a joint statement, I would assume, if they're going to keep the solidarity thing going. And I think it would probably be best for Whitman to continue that, to be consistent with it, and not throw Gross out there to go it alone, so to speak.
Because you backed him, right?
Right.
I mean, you backed this guy who you could have fired, and most of the fan base would have been like, okay, I get it. And then after all this stuff happened, you still backed him hard.
Right.
You're going to continue to back him hard. You have to at this point. But it's a big test for him. It's going to be really interesting to see. I don't know if there's, the easy answer. There's more nuance. I think we've covered it all, but it's just not good. I don't think it's good for Kendrick Nunn. And based on what Whitman has said, I would believe Kendrick Nunn is gone. But I think there's the fact that he's a really good player. I don't think that should play a role, but I think it does.
If it does, and more importantly, if a decision is made and it appears as if there was an exception made because of the kind of player he is,
that's a bad look for Whitman.
It's a terrible look, and that would set an awful precedent going forward.
I agree with you. I mean, at some point you have to make a decision bigger than the player and the impact he has on the court. I just think you have to. If you want to weigh in, you can text the Chief Power text line at 217-359-2255. But coming up next, let's talk a really big positive about this Illinois athletics program, the best program in the Illinois athletics program. That's Illinois men's golf going to yet another NCAA championships. They win the Kohler Regional. Illini golf coach Mike Small is going to join us next.
Ho-hum, another NCAA championship. Tay and J Show.
Game Day Spirit wants to congratulate the class of 2015 University of Illinois graduates. Head to Game Day Spirit for all of your graduation gift needs. Are you becoming an alumni? Game Day Spirit is the place to stock up on alumni merchandise to show your Illini pride for years to come. From alumni t-shirts, sweatshirts, and keychains to decals, license plates, and even Camelback water bottles, Game Day Spirit is stocked with great grad gifts and alumni merchandise. Shop Game Day Spirit on the corner of 6th and Green, their new Neal Street location, or online online at GameDaySpirit.com.
Check out the new Honda BMW of Champaign, formerly Twin City Honda BMW, and still located in Savoy. These guys are crazy for used vehicles. Truckloads of pre-owned vehicles, 25 to 50% off the price of a similar new model. And not just Hondas and BMWs, cars, pickup trucks, and SUVs of all makes. Financing options on used cars as low as 1.9%. Just drive by Honda BMW of Champaign and you'll see from the street that this is a new dealership. Honda BMW of Champaign, online at drivechampaign.com.
Spring is here, and Just for Fun Golf Center is the place for golf in Champaign-Urbana. Check out the newest 2016 golf clubs and gear, and ask about a trade-in for your old clubs to help get you into the latest and greatest for the best price. Just for Fun is off Market Street in Champaign, just north of I-74. Find Just for Fun on Facebook. That's just, for with an E, fun on Facebook, or call them at 403-GOLF. That's 403-GOLF. Just for Fun Golf Center, where golf is never out of season.
QL1, this is Control. Ground crew is secure. Over.
Copy that, Control. Rockets powering up. Over.
QL1, this is Control. Does Rocket Mortgage require me to fill out a bunch of paperwork?
Negative, Control. Rocket Mortgage by Quicken Loans is the first on-demand mortgage machine that quickly and seamlessly imports your financial data. You can go through the entire mortgage approval process in minutes.
Copy that, QL1. That is fast, like rocket fast. Do you think that's why they named it Rocket Mortgage? Over.
Affirmative, Control. That's probably why they named it Rocket Mortgage. It also works on any internet-ready device, so you can get a Rocket Mortgage at any time or place you choose.
Roger that, QL1. So technically speaking, you could get a Rocket Mortgage at rocket speed from inside an actual rocket?
Please just press the button, Control. Over.
Copy that, QL1.
3, 2, 1. Rocket Mortgage at QuickenLoans.com. Push button. Get mortgage.
Rocket. Visit for cost information and conditions. Equal housing lender. Licensed in all 50 states. NMLSConsumerAccess.org number 3030.
We know how much you love your car. Protect your ride with AutoGuard from Pekin Insurance and your local independent agency. AutoGuard picks up where other policies fall short, offering trip interruption coverage, key replacement, tire protection, accidental airbag deployment coverage, and more. All for just $20 per year per vehicle. Call your local Pekin Insurance agent or visit www.pekininsurance.com to put their beyond the expected services to work for you with AutoGuard.
Monticello's newest bar and grill is Fieldhouse 219, serving up a full menu featuring gourmet burgers, sandwiches, wraps, and more. It's worth a drive to Fieldhouse 219 for sports and live entertainment. Watch your favorite sports teams on one of their 6 big screen TVs while enjoying a cold drink and one of their daily specials. And come back each weekend for live music at Fieldhouse in Monticello. Open Tuesday through Saturday. Make it Fieldhouse 219 for sports, food, drinks, and live entertainment. Fieldhouse 219, 219 West Washington Street on the corner of Washington and Market in downtown Monticello.
When you're heading home, Tay and J are on your way talking sports. Weekday afternoons 3 to 6 here on ESPN Radio 93.5.
It is the Tay and J Show. Mike Carpenter in for Lante with Jeremy Werner. Plenty of Illinois basketball talk. Kendrick Nunn, of course, pleads down to 1 misdemeanor battery account. We're going to kind of wait and see what Whitman and Gross say about his future. And then good news for Illinois basketball. Dee Brown now part of the staff. But even better news, Jeremy Werner, there's a certain program in Illinois sports that's been special for the last decade. And they did something pretty special just these last few days.
Dee Brown will join us on the phone line at 4:30, but joining us now on the Jupiter's The Crossing phone line is Illini golf coach Mike Small. Ho-hum, coach, another NCAA regional title.
Yeah, guys, thanks for having me on. If I get a little confused here, conflicted, I'm sorry. We're trying to do 3 things at once here, but we just left the golf course, and I'm very proud of the guys. They hit a standard today and played solid the whole back 9 and kind of do what we do. And Florida played great. Florida probably played better than us the entire week, but we stayed on their heels until the last probably 2 or 3 holes, and they kind of had trouble finishing, and we finished strong, which we always talk about. And very proud of the guys for a very solid back 9 and advancing. First of all, you want to advance, but for winning another regional 4 in a row for these guys is just makes me very proud.
I do want to put out there, Mike Thorne will be back for a 6th year. Illinois just released that, so we'll get to that after we talk.
Nice.
Well, yeah, that's good news for Illinois sports in general. But Coach, we talked about after day 1, you shot a 1 over, and that was kind of like a bad day for you guys, right? But we had no worries about you guys really advancing. You're a good golf team. You always seem to play better round 2, round 3. but does it mean something to win a regional? I mean, obviously you go to win everything, but what does that mean for this team?
Well, there's no big award for winning a regional, but a win is a win is a win. We talk about, and that's what we like to do, and that's what we try to do, and that's our MO. And when we have a chance to win, we want to, and we try to win everything we do, whether it's playing cards or if it's just kind of messing around and shooting hoops or whatever. We want to win everything we do, and when we come to an event like this, you want to advance. But we've learned a long time ago. I've learned 15 years ago, 20 years ago when I was playing on tour, trying to get into through the tour school or trying to get into the U.S. Open, whatever qualifying process there is. If you try to win the event, it's a lot easier to qualify. So that's just our mindset, and we're very proud of this win. To win 4 regionals in a row is very unique. I can't remember it being done. I have to go back and consult some the NCAA record books on that. But to win 4 consecutive is hard to do. There's so many good golf teams. They put you at different places around the country every year with different conditions and teams, and all the top teams are there. So, but to win it just adds a feather to what we're doing, and it builds our resume, and it gives us confidence that we can bring it and compete and win maybe when we don't have our best. And that's what I want this program to get to, and that's what a program is. A definition is you can still win and still contend and still compete maybe when you don't have your best, and that's what we're aspiring to be.
Mike Small joining us on the Tay and J Show as the team will be heading back to the Nationals. And, I look at Monday's performance, Coach, and I guess by most team standards, that's still a pretty good day. But with the lofty standards you guys have set, maybe a bit subpar just by your guys' standards. Do you think there was any element maybe of, okay, we've been to this regional thing before. Was there any sort of forward thinking amongst the team of, okay, you just mentioned how you guys want to win everything, but do you think it might have been, we've been here before, let's get the top 5 and get out of here? And did you guys have to kind of hit a reset button after Monday?
Well, I don't think it was that in-depth or that much thought into it. I just think we didn't play well, and we didn't hit our standard on Monday. And that's something, we were still in it. We were in 5th place. We didn't play our best. We didn't finish our round off, and we finished everything we do. We want to finish, whether it's your homework or a practice session or whatever it is. You finish the task at hand, and we didn't do it that day. And we hit a little lull in the middle of the round, similar to what we did at the Big Ten tournament. And it wasn't bad. I mean, our guys never quit, but when you're not engaged in your process and you're not competing every minute, and you're kind of have some unforced errors, or more unforced errors on Monday than I've seen out of these guys, and so that's kind of what happened. And I think we weren't worried, but the caution flag went up, and we had to understand that we can't play that way. And this program is built on playing a certain way and thinking a certain way, and competing a certain way. And that day we just had a lull. And there's too many good teams at this time of year, and there's too many. One off day can ruin a season in the postseason. That's in any sport in NCAA's, and that was a little bit of a concern. But we came back the next day and took care of business, and that's what good teams do. I mean, it's hard to bring it every day, and these are long tournaments, and it just there's a standard you want to hit, and we came back after Monday and hit it the last 2 days.
Coach, we've talked a lot about Dietrich and Danielson. I get that they're seniors, but does their consistency, is that even atypical for seniors at this point? Because every tournament seems like both those guys, top 10, usually top 5.
Yeah, well, they're good.
Yeah.
They've been around a long time. They have a lot of experience, and they flat out want it. They want to play at the highest level when they leave here, and they have a lot of pride. And that's the first and foremost thing you have to be a competitor or be an athlete. You have to have pride, and you just can't take days off. You can't slough it off to some other factor or some other bad break or whatever, or have an excuse. There's no excuses here, and they have pride, and they bring it all the time. And they came in and they adapted that thought. They had let themselves get enveloped into the program, and now they're leading the program by that mindset. And that's what makes you proud as a coach, and that's why you have a program, not a 1 year good and a 1 year bad. And we want the next row of kids to still do what they did, grab a hold of it, take ownership of the program, have pride in diversity in what we do, and they're consistent. And the definition of greatness in my mind for an athlete is the difference between their best and their worst. The great ones, there's not a big difference between their best and their worst. They just bring it every day. And if there is a big difference, you need to get better. You need to improve. And we've kind of subscribed to that theory too. And these guys are narrowing in on having that greatness in this level of college golf because of their consistency. Now, can they get better? By all means, they'll tell you that. There's things today they need to do better, but the consistency shows me that the difference between their best and the worst is not that much. Not that far.
Yeah. Illini golf coach Mike Small talking about another NCAA regional victory. Moving on to the NCAA championships for the 9th straight year. Lance tweeted in a really good question, and I want to give him credit for this because, during stroke play, you guys are great because of your depth. But he asked, are you guys better built for stroke play or match play? Because once you get into match play, everybody's counts. It would put Lipparelli, the freshman, under a lot of pressure as well. Obviously, you got to get through stroke play to get to match play, but how do you feel about your team in both those?
Well, yeah, that's a good question, and I like to think we're very good at both. The national championship is going to be decided by match play, but you don't get a chance to play match play if you're not one of the top 8 in the country in the stroke play. So you got to have both, and we're going to worry about stroke play now, and we're going to get in that final 8. We're going to bust in there and take care of business, and then when the match play comes around, we're going to change our mindset and use our experience the last 3 years. I don't think a team in the country has had I know they have the last 3 years consistency in the finishes in the country as we have. So we've had a lot of guys that have been there. We need to take care of that animal when it presents itself. But right now, we just we got to keep our stroke play mind set up and finish that off, because you can sit and worry about match play all you want right now, but if you don't play good at nationals, you're not going to get that chance. So, I think we're good at it. I know we're good at it. We played good at the East Lake Cup last fall. We beat Georgia and SC, who are 2 of the other top teams in the country. So it can be done, but we also know that match play is very fleeting. It's a one-day event, and it is very similar to playing a 10-minute basketball game. It's Indiana playing Illinois or Illinois playing UCLA in a basketball game in the last 10 minutes.
Yeah.
It's a sprint, and you got to be ready to go. So hopefully our experience will help us do that when we get to that.
Have you ever been to the Eugene Country Club out in Oregon?
I was there 25 years ago, and Charlie played there last summer in the the Pacific Coast Amateur, I believe. But that's all that's been there. And we're going to have a good practice round. We're going to have to figure that out, and it's a different kind of golf. It's Poana greens, a lot of rough, big, tall trees, and you got to drive it straight. And that's something that when we play well, we drive it straight, and we need to put an emphasis on that the next week and a half of freeing ourselves up and knocking the ball down the middle of the fairway.
Mike Small, Illini golf coach, kind of gets old, but congratulations on another big accomplishment for your program. Moving on to, I know, bigger things, and you're going for that big one. But we always appreciate the time, Coach, especially right after this tournament. Good luck in the next couple weeks.
Well, thanks for the attention, and thanks for following it. And, being a non-revenue Olympic sport, sometimes you don't get that attention, and I know the guys appreciate it, and the program does. You guys always follow us and find an interest in it. I know that the town has, and the community has, and even the state. So we appreciate all that, what you guys do for us. And I think the guys are trying to return the favor with some good run here over the years.
They've given us a lot of stuff to talk about in the spring, and sometimes it's needed. So thanks, Coach. Appreciate it.
Thanks. All right, guys.
All right, good stuff. Mike Small, he's the best at what he does.
What a good 10 minutes.
What a nice 10 minutes. I want to get it out there. Yeah, it just broke. Illinois just released the news. The NCAA on Wednesday approved a medical hardship waiver for Fighting Illini center Mike Thorne Jr., granting him a 6th year of eligibility for the 2016-17 season. I'm just going to read a little bit of their press release. Thorne played in a total of 8 games this past season, averaged 12.9 points, 8.5 rebounds, played in the first 7 contests before suffering a torn meniscus in his left knee on November 28th versus Iowa State. After surgery and rehab, Thorne returned to the court on January 19th in Indiana. He suffered a physical setback in the days following that game, was ultimately sidelined the remainder of the season. John Gross in a statement said, "We are thrilled for Mike. He endured a lot of adversity last season, suffering the knee injury after a great start, and then having lingering complications that prevented him from being able to return to the court. Now he will get that chance to come back for a 6th year and finish his college career in the way we all envision. The NCAA deserves a ton of credit in this situation, as they made a decision that is without question the best interest of the student athlete." That's phenomenal, because we can talk about the impact it has in Illinois basketball. This was common sense.
Yes.
I mean, what bad thing happens about Mike Thorne getting another year of eligibility?
Nothing. But I think we were all fearful and skeptical.
Because by the rule,
yes,
he did not qualify. No. But he's a type 1 diabetic. He really struggles to recover from injuries. He was recovered. Then he played 1 game, and he couldn't recover again. So I think this was a common sense, like, are we really in the best interest of the student athlete? This really doesn't set a ridiculous precedent for guys who have diabetes. I mean, right? That's the only precedent you're setting it for. This makes a lot of sense. We don't give a lot of kudos to the NCAA.
I take back every negative thing I've said about the NCAA.
That's a smart decision. That's a smart decision.
Let's come back and just revel in this great news.
That's huge.
It's big.
I don't think people remember how good Mike Thorne Jr. is.
Oh, pretty good. Tay and J Show.
This is Starla Carr with Provident Financial Group. What will you do during the next market correction? At Provident, we believe a sound financial plan is the surest way to avoid panic during market volatility. Contact us today to put a plan in place for you. Find us online at ProvidentFinancialGroupLLC.com. Securities and advisory services offered through Commonwealth Financial Network.
Provident, partnerships built on trust.
Member FINRA SIPC, a registered investment advisor.
Guidance, trust, protection, service. It's the mantra of GTPS Insurance. Finding the perfect solution for you, guiding you through the options, helping you through a claim, and adapting to your evolving needs. Since 1997, GTPS Insurance has provided coverage for your car, your home, your business, and your life. As an independent broker, GTPS Insurance Agency will shop around until they find the right coverage at the best price. Contact a GTPS Insurance agent today at 359-9000 or visit online at gtpsinsurance.com. As the leader in fire protection and security systems for industrial, commercial, and residential buildings, Matco features exceptional protection. Matco installs, maintains, and inspects fire sprinklers, alarms, CCTV, security systems, and access-controlled systems. Their vigilance is a must-have priority to protect your assets. Matco's digital monitoring and veteran personnel are your best security investment. Their 24-hour emergency service ensures that you are covered at all times. Contact Matco at matcofire.com.
A sunroom can add so much value and enjoyment to your home, and right now is a great time to buy one. It's Four Seasons Sunroom Spring Open House Sale this Saturday 10 to 5 and Sunday 11 to 4. 12 incredible sunroom models on display with 100% low-interest financing available. It's the sale you've been waiting for. The Four Seasons Sunroom Spring Open House Sale this Saturday and Sunday. Four Seasons Sunrooms, 5 miles west of Champaign, Route 10 in Bonneville, or call 863-2929. Live from the Habib BPC Studios, this is WSJK Tuscola, Champaign-Urbana, your home for the St. Louis Cardinals.
Live from New York, the Fox Report.
And Lisa Brady. Chance for Bernie Sanders moments ago in San Jose, California.
Our campaign has come a very long way in the last year.
After his 20th win last night in Oregon, and he came this close in Kentucky, where Hillary Clinton is claiming a narrow victory. She's just 90 delegates away from clinching, and White House spokesman Josh Earnest says concern about eventual party unity is nothing new during heated primaries.
The Democratic Party in a general election will be focused on a different question.
The contrast, he says, with a Republican nominee. Presumptive GOP nominee Donald Trump making two moves considered reassuring to party leaders, releasing a list of potential Supreme Court nominees and meeting with former Secretary of State Henry Kissinger. Conservatives meeting at Facebook headquarters in California after controversy over what's trending. Fox Radio's Jessica Rosenthal is live in Menlo Park.
Lisa, ahead of the meeting, Fox's own Dana Perino, who was invited to participate, said she expects an update on the investigation, though Facebook has already said they haven't found evidence of suppression of conservative stories in the trending news feed. She thinks this meeting is a good opportunity regardless.
If you're going to be such a big company with this much power and your mission is to be inclusive, then it is incumbent upon you to make sure that the atmosphere exists for that to be the case.
That said, she thinks everyone's more on the same page than not, that it wouldn't make sense for Facebook to have a business model that excludes conservatives, just given their sheer numbers. The meeting's only expected to last about an hour, Lisa.
Thanks, Jessica. The Fed not ruling out a possible interest rate hike in June, which seemed to catch Wall Street off guard. But stocks finished mixed, the Dow slipping 3 points. On the Fox Report, fair and balanced.
Guys, if you've been using or wanting to try Viagra but are worried about the costs, we have great news. Now you can finally get real results at huge discounts with our Healthy Men alternative to the little blue pill. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get results for a fraction of the price? Call today and get 40 pills for only $99. Others cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us if you want real results at the lowest prices. Never pay $15 a pill for Viagra when you can get real results for less than $3 per pill. Call 800-729-7081 today and save over $500. You can have those breathtaking, toe-curling moments again and again. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Call right now and we'll rush you your supply delivered discreetly to your door. Just call 800-729-7081. That's 800-729-7081. Again, 800-729-7081.
Vice President Joe Biden visiting an ice cream shop in Ohio to tout the new threshold for overtime pay. President Obama using executive action aimed at increasing the number of workers eligible for time and a half.
If you're actually working beyond the 40-hour week, until you reach a salary of $47,500, you got to get paid for that time.
The old limit was an annual salary of about $23,000 to be denied overtime pay. Business groups say some companies will shift workers to hourly positions to cut costs. Yet another severe spring storm, this time hammering parts of South Texas.
Plenty of damage in the San Antonio area, which was hit hard once again by a hailstorm that rolled through the south center part of Texas. Steve Smartis with the National Weather Service.
Large hail, believe it or not, a little bit larger than baseball size.
The storm turned the roof of a Toyota pickup factory into Swiss cheese.
Michael Board, a Fox Radio affiliate WOAI in San Antonio. No reports of injuries, but up to 4 inches of rain and flood warnings along 2 rivers. Some air travelers are taking those long lines for airport security in stride.
If it will help from bombings or anything else getting on the planes they don't need to be on, then I'm for that. But it doesn't need to be 3 hours.
The TSA sending in more help to the hardest hit areas, including Chicago's airports, blaming a combination of factors for the issue, while some airline critics continue to blame checked baggage fees. There's a new record for a diamond sold at auction. The Oppenheimer Blue, considered the largest vivid blue diamond ever auctioned off, selling for more than $50 million, far more than Christie's estimate. It's over 14.6 carats, named for Sir Philip Oppenheimer, the longtime De Beers mining chief who once gave the stone to his wife. No word so far on the new owner. In New York, I'm Lisa Brady on Fox News Radio.
So is this a good day? I think it's a good day.
I think it went from a kind of confusing day to a really good day. Now it's sunny out. Look at that.
Yeah, this is amazing. Here's your ESPN Radio 3-day forecast brought to you by Chief Bauer. Need a cooling expert this spring or summer? Call Chief Bauer Service Experts at 866-EXPERTS or visit them online at chiefbauer.com. Tonight, a slight chance of rain. It won't be long, though. Low of 46. Tomorrow, sunny, clear, beautiful, high 70. Good day to get out and run 12 miles like Carp will. A low of 50.
Maybe 8.
Friday, overcast, high 70. You're an underachiever. Yeah. Low of 49. Right now, overcast, 66. The sun is peeking out in Champaign, Urbana.
It is the Tay and J Show, and it's one of these days where I can actually play that drop.
Canned applause.
I can play that drop and not be ironic about it. Illinois gets some really big news. First off, we talked with Mike Small. That was a great way to end last hour. And even he had to have a reaction to this news story.
He's like, oh, great.
Yeah, it's great news. The great news, of course, is that Mike Thorne, will be back for a 6th year. And first off, personally for him, fantastic.
Awesome.
Because he's the kind of guy that, that size alone, I don't know what kind of NBA credentials he has. But if there was a chance to play in the league, it certainly would not have come after playing 8 games with the injury troubles that he had last year. He's going to have a long professional career no matter what. But it would be cool to see him come back with the 6th year and maybe put himself in conversation for something like that. At least get invited to camp.
Yeah, no, as we know that Mike Thorne is back, even without knowing what's going to happen. Kendrick Nunn, with him pleading guilty to battery and not domestic battery, and we broke that down in the first hour. We'll talk more about it later on. Without knowing about Jalen Tate, without knowing about Charlie Moore, your front court looks pretty good.
Really good.
I mean, next year.
Maverick Moore, I mean, we never talk about Maverick and the fact he was pretty good at the end of it.
He's a legit, middle of the pack starting big man in the Big Ten when it comes to offense. I mean, he's one of the better offensive big men.
Can you play the two of them on the court at the same time?
I think they tried it a little bit last year. Didn't work a lot. They tried Finke and Mav, and that makes a little more sense.
So you're telling me they're going to redshirt Maverick?
No,
probably not.
It would have been great if his first year you could have redshirted him, but we know that wasn't really an option. But yeah, you got a rotation of two guys because you don't have to play Mike Thorne 30 minutes. I mean, you got Mav who can play 20 minutes there, right? You got Mike Thorne who can play 20 minutes. You keep those guys fresh. You can play inside out with those guys. Now you've moved Mike Finke to the 4, where he is comfortable. That is his spot. He's a stretch 4, and that allows him to be a better rebounder, I believe, allows him to be on guys more his size. You get to move Malcolm Hill more to the 3.
Yeah, I don't think Malcolm Hill will play much 4 at all this year, which is great to hear.
Especially if Kendrick Nunn doesn't come back.
True.
If Kendrick Nunn doesn't come back, I mean, Malcolm Hill's a guard, but he can play all 5 positions on the court. He did it last year, right?
This is your 2 deep, right? You're 2 deep at the 5, Mike Thorne, Maverick Morgan. You're 2 deep at the 4, LaRon Black, Michael Finke. Very different players, but that's your 4 spot.
Second half of the season, Kipper could probably play there in a small lineup.
And also with the 3, along with Malcolm Hill. And then you still have the 2 guard with Jalen Coleman-Lands. If he makes a jump, fantastic freshman year. But he strikes me as the kind of guy that could make that jump, and become. I don't know about all Big Ten his sophomore year, but you know what? Honorable mention, something like that.
Yeah.
I mean, you look at the jump, for instance, that Kendrick made as a sophomore, that Malcolm made as a sophomore, and I could see that with JCL.
Yeah, so you're getting a deeper roster, and that's key. But Mike Thorne kind of is that transition because next year, I mean, Mav by himself, I'm not feeling good. Right, I mean that's no slight against Mav.
No slight on him, but
he can play 25 minutes a game, and then you got to play Finke there, and that's out of position for him. Now you have a rotation of guys. So if one guy gets hurt or something like that, you got more guys you can fill behind. So yeah, that depth is key in that front court. I mean, Kipper at the 3, DJ Williams at the 3. Those guys can play the 4. You got a versatile front court that I think is one of the deeper ones in the Big Ten. Now we got to figure out what the back court is. But you're feeling better about the point guard position without Charlie Moore, even without him. If you get him, say because Kendrick Nunn has to leave, you're feeling great about the point guard, and you still have a kid like Jalen Coleman-Lands who can play the 2. Aaron Jordan, we'd see what kind of progress he can have. Malcolm can play the 3.
Well, we've never
talked the 2.
We haven't mentioned DJ Williams, which again, he's not probably going to be a guy that's going to give you 10 points a game. But he is a guy that, as we saw along the season and what he brought to the table, you could call him an energy guy, but he was actually doing even statistically good things for you out there when it comes to rebounding and really defense towards the end of last season as well. So I don't know what kind of jump he's going to make. We talked about before DJ even came here, probably not a guy that's going to be a star for you, but it was very, very encouraging in February, beginning with that Iowa game, and then really lasting through the rest of the year what he brought. So there's a lot on the table. Basically, you are, if there was a war rating for these players, Mike Thorne, what, a 5 or a 6?
Multiple wins.
Yeah.
I don't know about 5 wins, but you could definitely put
3 or 4.
3.
Yeah.
I mean, you are the worst rebounding team in the Big Ten. What Alon always complained about, rebounding.
Mm-hmm.
Mike Thorne's one of the best rebounders in the country.
And a healthy LaRon Black helps.
And that's not hyperbole, people. Caleb Swanigan in the Big Ten averaged like 8.3 rebounds, and that was the lead. Mike Thorne would have been a 7+ guy. Percentage-wise, he is one of the best, especially defensive rebounders in the Big Ten. He's not the most efficient offensive player. Sometimes he has that off-balance shot. He shot about 50-something%, around 50%.
But think about how much of the onus was on him early last year. And if we
He's
are
the second-best player in the team.
And if we're talking about, I forget minutes, how many he played per game, the average minutes per game for those 8 games that he played early in the season.
Mm-hmm.
I'm guessing over 30. Or right around 30 at least. And then now that you have a Maverick Morgan as a legit option there at the 5, that you do keep these 2 guys fresh. And I think knowing how good each of those guys are offensively, the fresher they are, the better, the more production you're going to get out of the 5.
And just think of the different way you play.
Right.
I mean, offensively, because neither of those guys are great defensively, but Mike Thorne will change that defense because of the rebounds he gets.
Well, just out his mere size.
Right. And he's just a presence in the post, right? He's not a great defender, but he's a presence in that post. He shot 47.3%. He can improve on that, and that's going to be interesting this year. Got to the free throw line 7 times a game, averaged 21 minutes. So even, he had some bad games in there, but he has some really good games as well.
Well, Providence, he was just a non-factor.
Yeah, I mean, he has those games, and usually he always needed like 5 minutes to get into the game, and because of his diabetes, and he's got type 1 where it affects his life day to day. On some workouts he can't get through. Some days he just doesn't feel that great. So there's going to be days where Mike Thorne Jr. isn't great. And of course, there's always, coming off a big meniscus injury for a 6'11", 275-pound kid, there's always the risk of re-injury. But when he is healthy, he's a huge difference maker and one of the better big men in the Big Ten.
All I want going into this season when it comes to the roster and the expectations that I set for this team, and I'm going to be as realistic, and because clearly I've not been an optimist with Illinois basketball the last year. I don't think many have been, but I might have even bordered on just overly skeptical, borderline cynical with Illinois basketball. But when it comes to next year and what I want to see from them, it would be much easier to evaluate them if we have a roster that we can say, listen, this is what this roster should accomplish. Now, no matter what, we were going to go into the season and probably put the NCAA tournament as this is the bar you have to reach. But let's be honest.
Feel a lot better about that today.
Well, you feel a lot better, and it would have been unfair. And it's not like I would say, hey, bring back a coach after 4 consecutive missed NCAA tournaments. Right. But it would have been extremely difficult on a roster where the Kendrick Nunn news drops today. A few things entered my mind after that. First off, is Kendrick going to be on the team? That's first and foremost, and we'll wait and see on that. Secondly, how does that affect Charlie Moore? But third, man, we really need to catch a break on this Mike Thorne thing.
Yeah, because you need to at least know. You need some clarity at some point. And that's what's nice is now we have clarity, and that front court can be pretty dang good. And, you know, if we made a list of guys who are most important to Illinois' success from last year's roster, even this year's roster, Malcolm Hill is number one, without a doubt. I mean, he's
a bullet. Yeah.
He's an all Big Ten Player of the Year candidate going into next year. And I think our boy, is it John Crispin? Yeah, John Crispin said
not Joe, it's John.
He'd be the number one guy on his list, which even shocked me a little bit because Swanigan will be back.
Yeah, but
Koenig will be back. Nigel Hayes might be.
If the storyline is this, where basically Malcolm Hill is the lead dog that takes Illinois back to the tournament after a disastrous junior season for his team, not him personally, then storylines like that certainly help, and I think that voters would maybe gravitate more towards a senior.
We put out, or who would you put next, though? Is it Kendrick? Would it be Mike Thorne? Is it one of the point guards? Is it Jalen Coleman-Lands? I think I'd put Mike Thorne Jr.
Here's why why it would not be Kendrick for me. Because of the possible emergence of JCL and him playing the 2 spot. The fact
you have another guy who can pick up the scoring.
That if you looked at this team and thought, well, what are our weaknesses? You would not have said scoring from the wing spots. You would not have said, well, from the 2 and 3, we're just getting no production. Even with Malcolm Hill and JCL in there, you were looking at 2 positions that should be getting you 35 points a game. That's not ridiculous. Malcolm Hill will be close to a 20-point per game score next year. We'll wait and see on JCL.
He was 18 last year.
Right, exactly.
JCL's averaged 11, 12 last year?
Right.
And he could take another point or 2.
Yeah, absolutely. So, 35 points from those 2 spots. I felt pretty confident about that between 30, 35.
Yeah.
So scoring, not worried about it. What was I most worried about? No offense to Maverick, like we've talked about, very good offensively as last season went on, and it was impressive the development he had. But
you always rebounding a little bit,
yes, and really just if there was something so maddening about last year, apart from the 30-point blowouts every time we played on ESPN on a Tuesday or Wednesday night, other than that, it was that every game you were basically getting out-toughed. Because you simply didn't have the size to compete with other teams.
It's easy to say out-toughed, but you're outsized and you're out-athletic. Right? Well, Mike Thorne being 6'11", 275, even athleticism, sometimes athletes are going to get the ball from him, but not often.
More often than not, they're going to bounce off of him because he's just that big.
Mav is just he's not big enough, not strong enough quite yet. And yes, you could say sometimes he needs to be tougher. He took some strides there.
He did.
Michael Finke's just not strong enough or athletic enough.
But at the stretch 4, he doesn't need to be.
Right. Malcolm Hill he's tough. He showed toughness a lot, especially late in the year. He's just not athletic or big enough for some of those to get all those rebounds.
Yeah.
Even though he had a bunch of double-doubles and he was one of their better rebounders. But, now you just add a guy in the middle. And also, LaRon Black, we'll see what he's like coming back from a knee injury, but he's a good athlete and he's got toughness going to the glass.
There's still question marks, and you mentioned we've talked with the Mettler Center about this, the threat of re-injury when it comes to knee injuries. And we saw with Mikey Dudek, and Mikey Dudek is 6 foot tall. He's not carrying as much weight. He doesn't have type 1 diabetes. He doesn't have a lot of the same complications that would maybe put Mike Thorne to be a much more at-risk candidate for re-injury. But one thing that does kind of help that, you alleviate the minutes that he has to play. So this is why the emergence of Mav, even if it was just Maverick Morgan at the 5.
You can put Finke there for 5 to 10 minutes a game.
You could have, but it certainly
matchups.
helps when now you are playing guys in their natural positions much more often than not. And I think Michael Finke will be one to really watch for, because if we talk about wild card guys for how next season is going to go, if you can get consistent performances out of Michael Finke, and I'm even just talking offensively, I don't need a lot from him defensively, and I don't expect a lot.
We got to remember he was a freshman last year.
Exactly. A redshirt freshman, as some will say, but still.
Still, I mean, he hasn't played that kind of competition quite yet, and even if he's a redshirt freshman, still his first year. So he could take a big step forward. And we saw how in the non-conference how good Michael Finke can be, especially if he's the third or fourth option,
right?
And how good he was when he was with Mike Thorne, right? So that just tremor effect, that domino effect that happens on this roster by adding that big man, you're right, it just puts people in their positions. Now we'll figure out with the backcourt what happens with all those guys.
But I feel like you do have enough. Again, this is all contingent on Tracy Abrams, who was coming off 2 major injuries, coming back and being a valuable contributor. The good news for Tracy, though, and Tijon, coming off of an injury. Again, this seems to be a recurring pattern with this team, where a lot of guys on it, that at the 1, here's the difference between this year's team and last year's team. And this includes the fact that Kendrick Nunn may not be on it. You actually will have point guards. Your 5 position will not be a weakness, because when Mike Thorne went out after 8 games, it was killing you. Even when Maverick was scoring, that was the position that really hurt you.
And you can sustain an injury to one of those and still have a decent option.
You can. I just, like I said earlier in the segment, I just want to be able to go in the season and say, this is what this team should be. Most ideally, if I can use that word, it would be an NCAA tournament team, and I can go into it saying, this is what they should accomplish. And also good for them is the fact that the Big Ten, and we've talked about this, is not going to be as strong as it was this past season.
Here's a question. As constituted, say no Charlie Moore, say no Kendrick Nunn. Let's say Jalen Tate. I don't think it matters for our prognostications whether he's back or not.
Right.
But with the roster as constituted, NCAA tournament team?
Yeah, I think so.
I think that's the expectation. I mean, not just because it's do or die for John Gross, but I think that team's good enough to make the NCAA tournament and should make the NCAA tournament, assuming health.
You have a star in Malcolm Hill, a senior star, and maybe he's not the most vocal of leaders, but what we saw when he was basically by example last year, how tough he played, how hard he played all season long, despite the fact his team was going nowhere. That sold me for sure on Malcolm Hill being a guy that might not be rah-rah, but certainly the other guys have to look at him and respect what he does.
Yeah.
And then when it comes to the rest of the team, the good news, as opposed to last year, you don't really have any glaring weaknesses on a position-by-position basis. Because you have a Malcolm Hill, because of a JCL and the kind of talent he was coming out of high school, what he did his freshman year and the jump he could make, because of your three-point shooting ability, now you have distributors on the team between Abrams and Tijon Lucas, and now you have 2 good 5s.
And Jalen, his next step is really attacking. And you started to see him do it a little bit last year, sloppily, not effectively, but that's his next step, is adding that strength. DJ Williams adding that strength. Finke adding that strength. That's going to be big, is to see what Adam Fletcher can do with these guys and change their bodies. But today's news just gives you a lot more optimism.
It does.
I mean, you have a lot more margin for error with a big man of his capabilities in there.
Not to be a wet blanket on all this, but it also, the flip side of it makes you think, you know, man, it would be nice to have Kendrick on the team. It's a shame that all this went down as it did, and we're waiting to see what will happen to Kendrick. But that if nothing had happened, and we just looked at this roster, and we still got this news today that Mike Thorne was coming back, you think, oh my goodness. Not only are we talking NCAA tournament team, but let's see if they can make noise and finish in the top 5 of the Big Ten, something like that, which, you know, best case scenario, they maybe could.
Top half. Get to the top half, you're making a tournament.
Yeah, top 7 for sure.
Carp and J, a texter says, disregard all the ifs. Give me your ideal starting lineup for next year. Thorne, Black, Hill, Nunn, Abrams.
Yeah, that would be ideally.
Think of how much experience is on that team. You have a 24-year-old point guard, right? You're going to have a 23-year-old center,
You got 2 Chris Wenkies on your team.
21-year-old Malcolm Hill's a young senior. Kendrick Nunn is 22, 23, right? I mean, that's a bunch of men that would be on your team. But I've said that if Tracy Abrams isn't 100% Tracy Abrams, I'd love to see Tijon Lucas get the ball a lot, 20 minutes a game, because by the end of the year he could have a higher ceiling. But if Tracy Abrams is 90% of what he was, That's exactly what that team needs, is that kind of leader, that kind of toughness, especially when you surround them with guys like Nunn, Jalen Coleman-Lands, Malcolm Hill, Mike Thorne. He can be the fourth or fifth option.
Think to when Tracy was at his best, because what drove people crazy about Tracy, I think sometimes, was his inefficiency scoring. He could score, but it often took a lot of shots for him to get that way. And it was really Gross's second season where that was most pronounced, because he didn't have the Brandon Paul.
And he had to be the second option, right?
Had to be the second option. But when you look at his sophomore year, and he had a Brandon Paul and a DJ Richardson to get the ball to, now he doesn't necessarily have two. Well, that's not true. Malcolm Hill and JCL. But more importantly, what he didn't have that sophomore year was a presence down low offensively. And that's no slight on Nana. He just wasn't that good of an offensive player. Never developed that game. The fact that a Tracy Abrams now can dump it down low to a guy like Mike Thorne for an easy garbage basket, that alleviates that much more off of his plate. So I'm anxious to see what he does. It's kind of weird because he's been gone so long that you kind of forget what it's like to watch an Illinois game with Tracy Abrams. And absence makes the heart grow fonder. He's not going to be necessarily as athletic as he was a sophomore, junior year, but we don't need Tracy to be the bulldog and just take it straight to the rim when he's got three options on the court at any given time that can score.
But he can take it to the rim.
He could.
Which is nice.
Yes.
And he can be a threat. You know, we always talk about Jalen Tate just being a threat. Tracy might shoot 25% from three, but at least you have to guard that.
You got some wily veterans on this team. All of a sudden, Jeremy, my disposition is very sunny.
I see some smiling on a Carp. You can watch it on the video stream on YouTube. A smiling Carp talking about Illinois basketball, and he's going to be smiling more next.
I know. It's not Corey Bradford. It's my second favorite Illini of all time.
Is he real? You got to tell him that.
No, he's my first, actually. Come on. I got his bobblehead. I got his jersey.
Dee Brown, Illini Director of Player Development, Alumni Relations. Yes, that is his new title. He's now part of the support staff for John Gross. Dee Brown, we're going to talk to next on the phone line.
It's been a good day. Tay and J Show.
An ESPN Radio Mike and Mike Extra Point.
Freddie Gonzalez, the manager of the Braves, or he was, found out that he was fired because his team made the decision they were going to fire him. They booked him a plane ticket back to Atlanta from Pittsburgh, where the Braves were playing. And before they got a chance to tell him, he received an email confirmation from the airline. A one-way ticket. Could anything be more? Here's a one-way ticket back to Atlanta, Freddie.
It's embarrassing to have it happen that way.
It shouldn't have happened.
It was a mistake.
They shouldn't have booked the ticket.
I get it. It was a mistake. I understand that, but it shouldn't happen. It shouldn't.
Of course,
happen.
It shouldn't happen. Yeah. It's terrible. I mean, that is about as bad a way to find out you've been fired.
I know their intentions were to tell him face to face. I get that. I understand that, and this was a bad mistake.
Hear more from Mike and Mike tomorrow morning on ESPN Radio.
O'Reilly. Right now at O'Reilly Auto Parts, pick up 5 quarts of Mobil 1 Full Synthetic or High Mileage Full Synthetic Motor Oil for $27.95. Protect your engine from sludge and wear with Mobil 1 Full Synthetic or High Mileage Full Synthetic Motor Oils at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Better parts, better prices every day. Limit supply. See store for details.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Get your home in shape for summer with big Memorial Day savings right now at Lowe's, where you'll find great deals on everything you need to make this season a success, like $10 to $40 off select stain and sealants and resurfacers via rebate. Plus, get up to 30% off select major appliances, $396 or more. Make your home happy all season long with great brands and great prices right now at Lowe's. Stain offer valid 5/18/66. Rebate varies based on size. Appliance offer valid 5/18/67. Selection varies by location. Exclusions apply. See store for details and additional exclusions. U.S. only.
There's nothing better than real Texas barbecue, and no better place to get it than Hickory River Smokehouse. Every cut of beef brisket, pork shoulder, turkey breast, pork loin, and chicken are carefully selected and rubbed with a signature spice blend, infused with hickory smoke for juicy, award-winning flavor. For you Illini fans, it's served up right in Memorial Stadium and the upper concourse in the State Farm Center on game days. How about a smoked hammer turkey for your family get-together, or a taste as big as Texas for lunch, dinner, or to watch the big game? You're guaranteed to be the fan favorite. HickoryRiver.com or in Decatur, Springfield, Urbana, and Peoria.
You already know Houlihan's Restaurant and Bar at the iHotel is a great restaurant, but don't forget about the bar. Fantastic drink specials and mouth-watering menu items from snacks to full meals, a nice selection of draft, craft, and domestic beers, and just about any cocktail you can imagine. Watch the game with multiple flat screens on all sides of the bar, or grab some tables and make it a party. Drink specials daily, plus Houlihan's is now serving a delicious hot breakfast 7 days a week. Houlihan's at the iHotel. Check them out at the corner of 1st Street and St. Mary's Road, just south of the State Farm Center. Center.
Your local independent Pekin Insurance agent is part of your hometown. They're your friends and neighbors. They know you and your community. So when it comes to the right insurance coverage at the right price, you'll want to talk with the folks you can trust. Ask your local Pekin Insurance agent about the affordable insurance coverage for your car, your home, your business, and your family. They'll help you protect what matters most. And you can always count on beyond the expected service and coverage from Pekin Insurance. To find an agent near you, visit www.pekininsurance.com. You've heard me doing my hobby. Roll 'em up! Water wrap, go! I also have a real job as co-owner of 2 insurance agencies with more than 50 years of service to Central Illinois. Hey, it's Lon Tay, and I'm excited to do business with you. For a free business, auto, home, or life insurance quote, call me at 832-2411. Partnering with Pekin Insurance, you're guaranteed to receive a competitive quote. Going beyond the expected with Pekin Insurance and the Hillard Agency. Call 832-2411.
Saturday, May 21st, Thomasboro is the place to be.
Events all day include the 5K, Kids Race, Kids Activities Car Show,
Vendor Craft Show, Barbecue Cook-Off, food vendors, and more. Then wrap up the night with Marvin Lee
and Ryan Adias and the Feudin' Hillbillies. For more information, visit thomasborocelebration.weebly.com.
Thomasboro is easily located off Route 45 between Urbana and Rantoul, Illinois.
Visit thomasborocelebration.weebly.com.
Enjoy the weekend, folks.
If you've dreamed of building that incredible, warm, comfortable sunroom, dream no more. It's Four Seasons Sunroom Spring Open House Sale this Saturday 10 to 5 and Sunday 11 to 4. 12 incredible sunroom models on display with 100% low interest financing available. It's a sale you've been waiting for. The Four Seasons Sunroom Spring Open House Sale this Saturday and Sunday. Four Seasons Sunrooms, 5 miles west of Champaign, Route 10 in Bonneville, or call 863-2929. Hi, it's Stevie J. Start your day with me along with Diane Ducey, weekday morning 7 to 9, here on ESPN Radio 93.5.
430 Sports Center brought to you by Informed Athlete. I'm Nate DeSutter. For step-by-step help to transfer for college athletics, visit informedathlete.com. Illini basketball shooting guard Kendrick Nunn pled guilty to a single count of misdemeanor battery. The senior will avoid conviction if he completes the judge's requirements: 18 months of court supervision, 100 hours of public service, a $200 fine, an apology letter, and a partner abuse intervention course. No word yet on any punishments laid down by the university. On a lighter side, instead of threes, Dee is now in charge of player development and alumni relations. The basketball team announced today that the legend Dee Brown is returning to the program, and his duties will include providing guidance to players, contributing to recruiting, and publicly representing the program. Chicago native Charles Matthews announced he's transferring from Kentucky. As a freshman, he appeared in all 36 of the Wildcats games, and many are wondering if Illinois, who gave him an offer last winter, is an option. It's official. Mike Thorne is back for 2016-17. The senior big man went down with a torn meniscus after only playing 7 games and was granted a medical hardship waiver to return for his 6th season. Yesterday, the men's golf team heated up. Today, they exploded. They jumped past Florida to take the Kohler Regional by 4 strokes and will advance to the national championships for the 9th consecutive season. MLB, the Cubs, Sox, and Cards all lost last night, and they're going to have to get past the hump this Wednesday if they want a series win. Cubs need to score some runs. In the last 2 contests, they haven't cracked the scoreboard until the 9th. Tonight, it won't be easy as they hope to get offense going against the Brewers' best, Jimmy Nelson. The Cardinals' concern is still Adam Wainwright. The starter's won his last 3 decisions, but allowed a season-high 7 runs and 11 hits last time out. Facing a Colorado lineup that slugged 46 homers this season, getting Waino back on pace tonight is crucial. The Sox are looking to even it up with the Astros behind the arm of veteran righty Matt Latos. His ERA has risen since his hot start, but he remains 5-0 and is looking to keep his winning ways going with the White Sox this season. Sports Center update at 4:30, brought to you by Informed Athlete. I'm Nate DeSutter.
Looking to build, buy, or refinance? Partner with the mortgage team at Busey. Their in-house expertise and participation in a wide range of programs means your home loan is tailored to your needs. With a variety of options, including 30-plus special mortgage programs, Busey can help you find the one that fits your needs. Traditional financing options include fixed and adjustable rate mortgages, construction and lot loans, and investment properties. Busey provides simplified home financing. Their lending professionals take the time to get to know you and your needs. And Busey is a name you can trust. Their award-winning team has been recognized as the #1 mortgage lender by the Illinois Housing Development Authority and the top guaranteed rural housing lender by the USDA Rural Development. Ready to take the next step? Partner with Busey for the resources to turn your dream of homeownership into reality. Call 1-800-67-BUSEY and ask which special mortgage loan program is right for you, or visit online at Busey.com.
It is the Tay and J Show, ESPN Radio 93.5. Jeremy Warner, Mike Carpenter filling in for Lante, who is on assignment. And when Lante is on assignment, we get breaking news.
Yes, and it's been a crazy day. First off, just a quick recap before we get to our very special guest. And, you know, I got the smile on my face because there's been mostly good news
Two
today.
bits of good news.
We'll start with the bad news, or some resolution, at least legally, with the Kendrick Nunn situation.
Kendrick Nunn pled guilty to a battery charge. You heard Nathan DeSutter say that in the Sports Center update. Also, the great news is Mike Thorne Jr. will get a 6th year of eligibility. I'm happy for him. I'm happy for Illinois, and I'm happy for the NCAA that they made the right call.
They did.
Here. And then the other part of good news was that Dee Brown is officially joining the Illini basketball staff as a support staff member, and he's joining us now on the Jupiter's Crossing phone line. He's the Illini Director of Player Development and Alumni Relations. How does that sound, Dee?
Man, that sounds awesome, man. I'm very excited and blessed for the opportunity.
Yeah, congratulations on the new gig. What's this mean for you and your career arc, and why was this something you wanted?
Oh man, I definitely want to get into coaching. I think this is the first step to being a collegiate coach and being around a coaching staff and just learning a collegiate game. And to make this move now, it's just great for me. I got a great opportunity to spend a year over in administration. So now to make the move over here has just been a dream come true, and definitely humbling.
Do you kind of take us through the process here? So you did spend that year in that role as the special assistant to the athletic director. Was this a situation where you reached out to someone? Were you contacted? Or was it a little bit more organic, that this might have been something that was kind of planted a few months ago and then it just came to fruition recently?
Yeah, just organic, man. Just, me and Josh sat down and, me coming in on the administration side and being able to be, placed in that role was a great opportunity for me. So when he came in, he presented this role, and it just fit me so perfect. So it definitely was. Josh did a great job of coming in and handling that and putting me over here.
So let's talk about that a little bit. What will your role be for Illinois basketball?
A lot of mentoring, a lot of being around our current guys, our student athletes, just being like a big bro to them and showing them, not just showing them, because I'm not into playing anymore, but just giving them that knowledge and all my experience I have from playing at a high level and going to play basketball professionally. Also, a lot of film work, a lot of on the court stuff. And once the season comes around, and also just with alumni relations, guys. We had a rich history of. I'm sitting here in Oven right now, looking at all the rich tradition we have here with all the basketball players that went here and are doing great things in life. I just reach out to them and keep them connected to the program.
Dee, there are a lot of NCAA rules. What can you do in recruiting? What can you do in coaching? So, like during practices, I know you can't go on the road and recruit kids, but what can you do within those realms?
Man, it's a lot of NCAA rules, and one thing about the University of Illinois is we do things the right way. It's about integrity. So for me, on-campus recruiting, when guys get down here, I'm definitely going to be in front of them. Definitely have some time to talk about the University of Illinois and sell, have that selling point of me actually putting the jersey on, me knowing what it's like to go around campus and be a true student athlete. So I get to talk to the guys as they come on campus, and as far as with on the court stuff for practice, can't really instruct the guys. I mean, I can be around and work, do some game time stuff with the film and just, one-on-one relationships as far as off the court stuff with the mentoring is what I could do.
Dee, is there anything that you can do as far as recruiting is concerned when a prospect is not on campus? Is any indirect? No. Okay.
No.
Tijon Lucas is a point guard coming in. Illinois.
That's my guy.
Yeah.
That's my guy.
I was going to say, I would imagine that's the kind of guy that you can really, really mentor. So when he comes in, what's the Dee Brown effect on him?
Man, I'm going to be around him. I'm going to be in his ear, man. For me, for guys like that, young guy coming in with great potential, running the show here, man, just sharing my knowledge and my experience of playing at a high level, what it's like to, because it's very difficult to be a student athlete here at the University of Illinois. I mean, we hold ourselves at high standards academically. So, everybody sees the competing for championships on the court, but what goes off the court is what really is really the hardest part about the college game. It's getting here, got social media now. You got people always expressing themselves on how you played and where you at on campus, and so just the off the court stuff for me with him is to get his mind, him be mentally prepared for what goes on with being a college basketball player.
Talking with Dee Brown, new Illini Director of Player Development and Alumni Relations for the basketball program. You were in an administration role last year. Is there anything you learned from that, like that you can take over into a different kind of role, or was there kind of a new perspective you gained from that?
No, yeah, it's definitely a new perspective. I just think when you're talking about University of Illinois, it's people that really, really love the program, really invest their time and their money in the program. So building relationships, being able to communicate, a lot of public speaking, a lot of time. Like everybody say, it's a lot of time that's going to be sacrificed when you take these roles. I was like, well, when I was administrative, doing administration work, we wasn't really doing 40-hour weeks. We was doing 60, 65-hour weeks. So the amount of time you spend away from your family, the amount of time you got put into your craft and into the job, for me, I mean, that's what I learned. You really got to work hard. You really got to put the time in and, build relationships, be able to speak, be able to, go around and do different things. So for me, I learned a lot being an administrator for the last 9 months.
Dee Brown, Illini Director. Let me get this title right here. Illini Director of Player Development and Alumni Relations. That fits. Joining us here on the Tay and J Show. And, there were a lot of Illinois fans that, whether it be on Twitter or message boards, were talking about you being an assistant right away. Talk about a bit of the process of learning on the job, which is certainly something that you'll do here. What are you looking most forward to kind of getting your hands on and getting some experience with?
It's all about patience. It's all about timing. I know. I just want to thank the Illini Nation for all the love, all support. It does take time. It is a learning curve that I have to go through. I'm a learner. I tell people I wasn't successful. I haven't done all the things I've done in my career thus far by not being a student, by not learning and not understanding that it's about timing. So for me, I definitely want to learn. I'm gonna learn all I can. I really appreciate our coaching staff taking me in with open arms. They've been really helpful. So for me, I'm just here to learn. I'm here to see what the collegiate game is really about, learn the rules, and just grow. And I really believe that in years to come, I'm definitely going to be one of the best coaches in the country doing it. I'm confident in it because I've been preparing myself. I love the game of basketball. Basketball is me. I use basketball as a platform for me to do so many different things within my life. So make an impact here at the school I went to, my alma mater, and I'm an in-state kid. It's like I said, it's a dream and a blessing for me.
It'd been a while since Illinois had some guys that were coming up the coaching tree in college basketball. Now they got Roger, you, maybe eventually here, and or Augie or Darren. Are they interested in coaching? You guys got a little thing going, it seems like.
Yeah, I think so. I think with the knowledge and the experience that we had, that we all passionate about basketball. We all passionate about this place. I would say Darren. I can't speak for Darren, but I know Darren would be an excellent general manager. Darren got a great basketball mind. James, I don't know what James going to do when he's done playing, but, Roger's just a perfect fit for coaches. What he brings to the table is unbelievable. I'm so proud of him. We also have Richard McBride that's in the coaching. There's a lot of other guys, Jarence Howard, Kejuan Garrett, Deion Thomas. I can just keep naming guys and, that really have good basketball minds that I'm able to talk to. And it's just great, man. I'm a Illini guy. I love it. I love the guys reach out to me, and we stick together, and we really believe in ourselves. And basketball is us, man. Basketball is me. This is what I love. This is what I enjoyed. I had a great career doing it. Now I just want to make an impact on our young guys and let them know that, basketball can take you so many places and open up so many doors. So that's what I'm here to do, is just make a difference, help in any way I can. I want the best for the University of Illinois. My new dream coming in, I always tell people when I was on the administration side, I want to win a national championship. I played a national championship game, came up 5 points short. I want to coach here and win a national championship, and that's my ultimate dream. That's my ultimate goal, and I'm going to work really hard for that to make that happen.
Dee, you had a long playing career, so I'm not sure if you'll be able to answer this or not, but was there a singular moment where you may have went from, coaching's kind of interesting to, that's definitely something that I want to do?
No, it's always been something I wanted to do. Whenever you went somewhere else, as far as professionally, you went overseas, or, even the NBA guys, the point guard is the second coach on the court, always. Yeah. He's the guy that delivers that message from the coach. He's the guy that sets the example by how his play. He's the first guy on defense that sets the tone on the defensive end. He's the guy that come down and make sure his team executes plays. So for me, I've been around a lot of talented guys, played with the best, played against the best. So I always knew I wanted to do it. I wanted to make an impact. I, like myself, growing up, always wanted to be a professional basketball player and working my way to get to that level. You know, when hard work pays off, dreams come true. I want the same thing for our kids and our young student athletes that come to the University of Illinois, and just, you know, within what we do here.
Dee, you've told us you want to coach sooner rather than later. And, you know, there's 3 assistants that have been on John Gross's staff for a long time. Has that been awkward at all with you guys? I mean, you coming in as an Illini legend, I wonder if those guys ever felt threatened.
No, man, they're some great guys, man. I wouldn't say so. I mean, they never treated me that way. I never sensed that. I would just say that John Gross has done a great job, man. But, you know, a lot of things has been out about him, but he's done a great job. He's a loyal guy, super energetic. You know, for him to give me an opportunity, you know, to be on staff it's like I said, it's been a blessing. I'm very grateful. I would just say that, you know, all our guys, you know, all the coaches that I know want to eventually be head coaches. They want to sit in that chair. So, you know, me coming in, they got to understand that it's all about time, and it's all about, you know, you got to work your way in. You got to start somewhere. If I start here, and I tell people I don't want to go anywhere else, but just say I have to, it's just part of the process. It's all a process. It's all time, and I just want to learn. And me coming in, those guys can teach me and mentor me into, you know, becoming a good college coach. And I think they're stepping to that. They opened me up. They took me with open arms. I'm very grateful.
I know you're not the guy to comment on off-the-court issues, so I'm not going to ask you about that, Dee. But I wanted to ask you about, as a player, how do you set that culture to where that stuff isn't an issue? Because obviously it's been an issue here lately. But how does that not become an issue as a player and then as part of a coaching staff now?
Oh, so what's the question? I'm sorry. Say it again.
There's obviously been off-the-court issues. I'm not going to ask you to comment on the specific things. But as a player, you know, when you're trying to set that culture, I mean, you were part of those culture setters here. How do you make sure that doesn't happen? And now as a coach, how do you make sure that doesn't happen?
Oh, man, that's actually a great question. Like I said, we got to, you know, sit down, figure it out. I mean, we got a great staff here. Man, these guys do a great job of, like I said, leading our guys and telling our guys, you know, what to do as far as right and wrong. I just comment on all the positive things that our young student athletes are doing right now, man. I mean, academically, our guys are getting it done. You know, highest GPA in fighting a lot of basketball history. You know, doing a lot of community service hours. For me, I just want to continue to emphasize how important and how special it is to put the jersey on. How people just love you. You know, this past 9 months, me traveling around and meeting people who are actually committed and loyal to this program has really just giving me that different perspective of really how special it really was to put that jersey on. That's why I tell people I am forever be grateful to put that jersey on. So just emphasizing that and showing them how much people care for the program. It means a lot to put that jersey on. You'll know, you're not only representing your family, but you represent a great institution and a great community. So for me, it's all about just, showing that passion, showing that love, giving them different knowledge and experience of, not only when I play, but when other greats, rich tradition of history of players that come through here, what it means to put the jersey on. So, it's just a lot of things going on at institutions, man. A lot of negativity been going on in the media about the University of Illinois, but I only harp on the positive. We have a lot of positive things going on here, and I'm very excited with the future of men's basketball and just Illinois athletics. You got that arm warmed up for Friday night, I believe, it's Illini night at Busch Stadium? Man, you know what? I'm excited. I'm excited. It's going to be a lot day. I haven't practiced yet, but I think I'll do fine. I think I'm going to go out there and try to throw me an 80-mile-per-hour fastball. I was going to say, the former quarterback here, right? Do you? Yeah, but it's different throwing that baseball, though, so it's going to be fun, though. I'm going to enjoy it, man. Like I said, I can't wait to get out there and be with Alumni faithful. We had a great support down in the St. Louis area, so can't wait to get down there. Did you watch much of baseball, play much of baseball growing up? And basketball, football was kind of your thing. Did you? Basketball, football, man. When I played baseball, like I hit with like a 90-mile-per-hour fastball, I stopped playing. That's more than for me right there. I got to go ahead and leave that alone. Dee, it was about a year ago, I think, right, if I get my timeline straight here, where you would have came back here to the University of Illinois, and I know you're an eternal optimist. But even with that, could you have foreseen things shaking out from the Whitman hiring to Lovie Smith being the football coach to your new gig? I mean, be honest with me. Could you have foreseen all these things happening within 1 year? When I took the job, a lot of people ask me, everybody said, because I don't do this to be honest, because I'm always going to be honest with everybody. You ask me something, I'm going to talk from the heart. I'm going to tell you me. I took the job at the University of Illinois, decided to walk away from playing basketball because I felt at the time it was all about timing. A lot of negativity was going on. When I stepped in, I wanted positivity. I wanted some positive things to start happening. And I knew that we was on break up. I saw when we had the State Farm Center. I saw that, all the things that was going to happen. We're very hungry for success. The Illinois Nation is very hungry for success. So when I came on in September, actually in August, I did 8 weeks, and I was going around talking to people, and I was just seeing different, seeing it from a different view. I wasn't a player anymore. I was the guy that was, the administrator. And I was seeing it, and I was like, some things about to turn around for us. We had a lot of things not go good for us. Things about to be really good. So for Josh to come on and say we're going to win, and for all these hires to come, it just let me know that, back in September, that vision I had of Illinois being great will come true.
Dee Brown.
To answer your question, yes, I saw that we were a nation that was hungry, who was hungry for success, and now as things are unfolding and these changes are happening, and then once it happens for me, that's going to be the ultimate feeling. For me, stopping and playing my career and feeling like it's time to come and make a difference here at the University of Illinois, and for me to come at the time I did, it's just going to be a great, great feeling. It's a great feeling now.
So if it's Dee Stradamus, what's next? What happens next? Is some big thing next?
It's definitely some big things that's stirring up here at the University of Illinois. And when it happens, like I said, I hate to be the guy that just said I told you so, but I'm really confident what we're doing, just being in athletics. I was in Illinois athletics, so when we start breaking down every team, everybody likes to just talk football, basketball. I get that. But with the new hire with Lovie Smith, we know we're good at that department. We got stability. We have a great leader. We have Josh Whitman, great leader, Illini guy. Now we have, Coach Gross coming back, and all the luck's going to change in his direction for us with the injuries and getting a full roster. And us being, men's basketball going to win, will win. And then you start looking at the other athletic teams. It's just a special time for us right now. I'm very happy.
Dee Brown, Illini Director of Player Development, Alumni Relations. Dee, always appreciate your time. Good to have you around for a little bit longer here.
Hey, man, thank you. And I was listening to you guys' show yesterday. It was pretty awesome. You guys going off on the NCAA. I was riding. I was intense. I was sweating. I was like, these guys really care, man. I was amped, man. I was amped. So,
hopefully we had some kind of impact. I doubt we did, but hopefully we had some impact because that's great news. Mike.
No, you guys, man, your passion just it was coming through the radio, man. I was blasting it. I was like, these guys are getting after it. And then it so happened that I could be on the show today. So I just want to thank you guys. Thank Illinois Nation, man. Josh Whitman, John Gross, the opportunity. Illinois basketball, like I said, great things to come. We will win. Shout out my man, Big Mike Thorne, man. I'm so happy for him, man. I'm so happy for him. When I was talking to him, he was almost in tears, man. I just show you how real it is, man. So I want people to really understand what these kids go through, man. He's a really good kid. I'm really happy he got that 6th year. Tracy coming back, he's feeling good. He's in good spirits. Hopefully he gets his waiver. I'm just very excited. I want to thank everybody, man. Thank you so much.
Well, hey, Dee, appreciate it. And as far as the NCAA thing goes, after the Mike Thorne decision, I take back every negative thing I've ever said.
I don't know about that. Dee, we appreciate your time, man.
Man, thanks for having me, man.
All right, good stuff. I bet there's a lot of listeners smiling right now.
Yeah, well, it's impossible not to if you're an Illinois fan.
Even if there was some awkwardness with that staff, this guy only helps you.
That's good vibes.
This guy only helps you.
Yeah, basically that is an invaluable resource to have on the staff. And if
you
you're
just need a positivity.
If you're a recruit that comes in and September, October, that's when you get the big visits coming in for the fall and the impact that a Dee Brown can have. Yeah, he was around last year, but to be that much more closely intertwined with the basketball program, it only helps.
If you want to weigh in, you can call the Chief Bauer, or you can call the Jupiter's the Crossing phone line, or text the Chief Bauer text line at 217-359-2255. We'll talk with Derek Piper, IlliniInquirer.com next hour.
We're heavy for a break, but it was Dee Brown, so that's it.
Right.
Tay and J Show.
Attention contractors. Flooring Surfaces Factory Outlet in Savoy is your new source for grout, mortar, adhesive, trowels, and anything else you need to get your job done right. Conveniently located on Route 45 with a brand new showroom, you will find hundreds of remnants, carpet roll specials, vinyl plank, porcelain tile, hardwood, and laminate. All in stock and all great values. Try Flooring Surfaces Factory Outlet for your next project, or visit the outlet today at 1703 North Dunlap in Savoy.
Willow Pond Golf Course in Rantoul invites all children 8 to 15 to join the junior golf program June 22nd till July 28th. Only $40 with a PGA instructor there to help you learn the fundamentals. And every child receives a set of golf clubs at the conclusion of the program. Space is limited. Also, sign up for the Willow Pond Memorial Day Scramble Monday, May 30th at 11 a.m. For junior golf information and the Memorial Day Scramble, call 893-9000 or go to willowpondgolf.com.
Hi, it's Corey Mathis from Max Twin City Recycling. This year marks our company's 65th anniversary. Today, just like in 1950 when my great-grandfather started the company, Max Twin City is still family-owned and operated and striving to give you the best customer service in the area. We recently finished construction of our new building, making metal recycling cleaner and more convenient, and we still pay you the same great prices on steel, aluminum, brass, and copper. Come visit us on North Lincoln Avenue, just a half-mile north of I-74, or find us online at maxrecycling.com.
Check out the new Honda BMW of Champaign, formerly Twin City Honda BMW, and still located in Savoy. These guys are crazy for used vehicles. Truckloads of pre-owned vehicles, 25 to 50% off the price of a similar new model. And not just Hondas and BMWs, cars, pickup trucks, and SUVs of all makes. Financing options on used cars as low as 1.9%. Just drive by Honda BMW of Champaign and you'll see from the street that this is a new dealership. Honda BMW of Champaign, online at drivechampaign.com.
Bunny's Tavern, the best kept secret in downtown Urbana since 1936. Come enjoy 1350 mix and match domestic buckets 7 days a week. Enjoy Bunny's 10 big screen TVs, whether you're inside or enjoying the summer weather. On Fridays, enjoy a dry battered or grilled cod sandwich all day and all night. With delicious daily lunch and dinner specials, Bunny's Tavern may not stay a secret for long. Come check out what people in Champaign-Urbana have been whispering about for over 75 years. Bunny's Tavern.
When your car breaks down, you realize just how much you need it. And when it breaks down, Beaumont Alignment Plus steps up. For routine maintenance like brakes, oil changes, tune-ups, batteries, and tires, you can count on Beaumont Alignment Plus. Bigger issues including alignment, suspension work, starters, alternators, transmission requires specialists. So get to know Beaumont Alignment Plus for your vehicle repairs. With locations on Bloomington Road and Denison Drive in Champaign, you're never far from the help you need. It's good to know the quality service is still affordable at Beaumont Alignment Plus.
You're right. When carrying a concealed firearm is protected with the correct holster. On Saturday, May 21st, High Caliber Training Center in Urbana will host Black Rhino Concealment, makers of custom Kydex firearm holsters. Their portable molding station can fit your carry firearm by the end of the day. All holsters are made in the USA and specially molded to each handgun. The lifetime warranty is just the start of their customer service. For more information, contact High Caliber Training Center. High Caliber Training Center, where your safety comes first.
What's for lunch? What's for dinner? How about a trip to see Jonathan, Susan, and their friendly staff at the Rantoul Public House? They're serving up lunch and dinner 6 days a week. Try one of their specialty half-pound Angus burgers like the chili cheese, whiskey peppercorn, or the Philly half-pound burger. Then come back tonight for dinner because the Rantoul Public House is serving up what you like. Fried chicken, steak, surf and turf, and more. Hungry? Yeah, we thought so. Cure your craving today at the Rantoul Public House, 108 North Girard in Rantoul.
Coach Mike Ditka is not just talking sports. What will he say next? Hear him here Monday and Friday mornings from 7:30 to 8 with Brother Johnny and me, Stevie J, on ESPN Radio 93.5.
Pretty good. Old school funk.
This hour of the Tay and J Show brought to you by Central Illinois Honda Dealers with 7 locations in Central Illinois, including Honda BMW of Champaign. Visit CentralILHondaDealers.com for a wide selection of new and pre-owned vehicles.
I'm all happy because all the Illinois news, and this is making you happier because it's JT. It's his new jam. Can't fight the feeling. Is that
Can't
it?
stop the feeling.
Can't stop the feeling.
It's his version of happy, basically,
Okay.
and it works. It totally works.
Is Pharrell involved with this song?
No, it was Max Martin. Yeah,
Okay.
Chris Hines sent me a thing on Facebook, and I broke it down. Like, Max Martin has 22 number one singles.
Is it a one-off single, or is it leading up to an album?
This is the soundtrack of Trolls the movie, that he's the star with Anna Kendrick of an animation film, and he was the director of music for it.
Wow,
So I think
okay.
he made like 5 or 6 tracks for it. So I think he's going to do this, and then he's going to release an album.
Well, we have about a minute. We ran heavy with D.
Here's the funny little clip that you will really enjoy.
Oh, okay.
Only 2 other songwriters have more number one hits
Than Max Martin.
Than Max Martin.
All time.
Lennon
McCartney, I don't think is it. I don't know how many number ones they have.
It is.
Is it? Okay.
It's Lennon and McCartney. Lennon had 28, McCartney had 32.
Okay. That's pretty
Two
impressive.
guys in the same band had 60 number one hits. Of course, Lennon had some by himself, and McCartney had some with Wings and himself.
That was a quick segment, but a good one. It was a great hour. We talked to Dee Brown. Of course, he is the new Director of Player Development and Alumni Relations. That's his new job.
And we got the news on Mike Thorne. I mean,
he's back.
Good stuff. So, and then Kendrick Nunn, the first hour, was a little like, I don't know what's going to happen. But we'll recap it next with Drive Time. And then Derek Piper, IlliniInquirer.com, will join us to break all this down. Charlie Moore. Illinois basketball is going to keep us busy this summer.
It's a good day. It's a good day on the Tay and J Show.
Ice Cube.
Gander Mountain is the headquarters for all your hunt, fish, and camp needs. Right now is the prime time to get outside and do what you love. And we've got what you need to make your outdoor adventures better than ever. Don't miss the Red Tag Firearms event, where you can save up to 25% on thousands of rifles, shotguns, and handguns. Take advantage of our buy one, get one 50% off sale on all Gander Mountain camp chairs, as well as dozens of other offers happening throughout the store. We live for this. We live outdoors. Gander Mountain.
So, your car made it through the winter months. Time to stop worrying about your battery, right? Wrong. Summer heat is brutal on your car's battery. Make sure it's ready for the hot months ahead with a free battery test at Interstate All Battery Center. If you're good to go, we'll tell you. And if you need to replace your battery, Interstate All Battery Center has the #1 battery brand in the United States, recommended by independent auto technicians 5 times more than the next national brand. So before you head out on your summer road trip, stop by Interstate All Battery Center for your free battery check. And while you're there, be sure to check out our complete selection of batteries for all your portable power needs.
Interstate All Battery Center. You'll find them outrageously dependable. For all your battery needs, visit their Champaign location just north of I-74 at 2504 North Mattis Avenue. Interstate All Battery Center has batteries for most every application in stock.
Interstate All Battery Center. Outrageously dependable.
U of I Community Credit Union for campus and community.
Check out our new U of I Community Credit Union website today. We've made a lot of exciting changes, including a more user-friendly experience for our members, a cleaner look, and our site is chock full of more information to help the community make smarter financial decisions. Visit us online at uoficreditunion.org.
Live, work, or study in Champaign County? Bank with the U of I Community Credit Union.
Game Day Spirit wants to congratulate the class of 2015 University of Illinois graduates. Head to Game Day Spirit for all of your graduation gift needs. Are you becoming an alumni? Game Day Spirit is the place to stock up on alumni merchandise to show your Illini pride for years to come. From alumni t-shirts, sweatshirts, and keychains to decals, license plates, and even Camelback water bottles, Game Day Spirit is stocked with great grad gifts and alumni merchandise. Shop Game Day Spirit on the corner of 6th and Green, their new Neal Street location, or online at GameDaySpirit.com.
VersaBar, a world leader in the development of heavy lifting solutions, is a proud sponsor of the Mike Ditka Show. VersaBar is also a proud supporter of the University of Illinois and the College of Civil and Environmental Engineering, the St. Louis Cardinals, and the Unity Rockets. To learn more about VersaBar, just go to www.vbar.com. That's www.vbar.com. VersaBar, the power of engineering delivered. Live from the Habib BPC studios, this is WSJK Tuscola, Champaign-Urbana, your home for the St. Louis Cardinals.
Fox News Radio, I'm Kathleen Maloney. Some GOP gains in a new Fox News poll. Fox's Gernal Scott joining us live.
And Kathleen, the latest Fox poll shows presumptive GOP nominee Donald Trump with a 3-point lead over likely Democratic nominee Hillary Clinton, 45% to 42%. That's a complete reversal from last month when Clinton led Trump by 7 points. The poll shows both candidates with strong pockets of support, Trump with whites and men, Clinton with women and African Americans. But both candidates also have high negatives among voters. And this poll shows Clinton with unfavorability numbers rising while Trump's are falling. Incidentally, the new poll shows Trump trailing Bernie Sanders head-to-head, 46 to 42%. Kathleen.
Thanks, Gernal. Donald Trump releasing his list of 11 potential Supreme Court nominees. Senate Judiciary Committee Chairman Chuck Grassley saying he is impressed with the names on the list. Facebook's executives trying to smooth over a trending controversy that has conservatives concerned. Fox News Radio's Jessica Rosenthal with a live report.
Kathleen, ahead of the Facebook meeting with conservatives, Fox News' Dana Perino, who's attending, noted Facebook says it has not uncovered evidence that conservative news has been suppressed from what's trending. And she says it wouldn't make sense. It's not a good business model given how many conservatives there are. She said she was interested in listening and understanding some of the technology behind what gets chosen. But she also noted,
when I was interacting with my followers and asking them what they thought of, I should bring up at the meeting, nobody brought up news trends. They were more concerned about the community standards policy, what makes the cut, what doesn't, and why.
While some have called the meeting a PR stunt, Perino said more engagement, not less, is better in this case. Kathleen.
Thanks, Jessica. Wall Street closing mixed, the Dow slipping 3 points. Fox News Radio, fair and balanced.
Guys, if you've been using or wanting to try Viagra but are worried about the costs, we have great news. Now you can finally get real results at huge discounts with our Healthy Men alternative to the little blue pill. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get results for a fraction of the price? Call today and get 40 pills for only $99. Others cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us if you want real results at the lowest prices. Never pay $15 a pill for Viagra when you can get real results for less than $3 per pill. Call 800-729-7081 today and save over $500. You can have those breathtaking, toe-curling moments again and again. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Call right now and we'll rush you your supply delivered discreetly to your door. Just call 800-729-7081. That's 800-729-7081. Again, 800-729-7081.
Federal rules raising the threshold for overtime pay from just under $24,000 to $47,500 a year for workers who put in more than 40 hours a week.
Millions of people are going to start to get paid, not more than they deserve, what they deserve.
Vice President Joe Biden at an ice cream shop in Columbus, Ohio. The new rules taking effect December 1st. 4 Chicago aldermen suggesting the city privatize security at its major airports after recent delays getting through security.
Passengers waiting up to 2 hours at Chicago O'Hare's and Midway airports. The TSA sending in emergency help, hundreds of workers and canine dogs. Congress has shifted $34 million in the TSA's budget to help pay for overtime. Still, folks are waiting in long lines and are irritated. The TSA encouraging people to get to the airport up to 3 hours before their flights. This after thousands of passengers missed their flights Sunday and Monday, causing hundreds of flight delays nationwide. At Chicago's O'Hare Airport, Matt Finn, Fox News.
There's evidence hackers, possibly from overseas, are cyber spying on the presidential candidates. Intelligence officials working to tighten security.
There's a long-standing practice of briefing each of the major candidates once they are officially designated, and that sort of shifts into higher gear, if you will, in terms of detail. After the president-elect is known.
National Intelligence Director James Clapper. More evidence of global warming. Federal scientists say April's record-shattering average temperature of 56.7 degrees is 2 degrees warmer than the 20th century average. Kathleen Maloney, Fox News Radio.
Here's your ESPN Radio 3-day forecast brought to you by Chief Bauer. Need a cooling expert this spring or summer? Call Chief Bauer Service Experts at 866-EXPERTS, or you can visit online at chiefbauer.com. Tonight, partly cloudy, low of 46. Tomorrow, sunny, clear, high 70, low of 49. Ooh. Friday, overcast, but a high of 70, a low of 49. Right now, sun's peeking out a little bit, 68 degrees in Champaign, Urbana.
It's a beautiful day.
It's that time. It's drive time, presented by Honda BMW of Champaign. For new and used vehicles, stop by Honda BMW of Champaign at the corner of Neal and Burwash in Savoy, or visit online at drivechampaign.com. Mike Carpenter, this will recap the first 2 hours of the Tay and J Show. And where do we start? Should we start where we started today?
Let's start. Okay,
the first news. Should we go chronologically here or by order of importance?
Let's do this. The old trick of I got good news and I got bad news, and then usually the person says, "All right, give me the bad news first."
All right, so we'll give the bad news first, which is Kendrick Nunn has pled guilty to a battery charge of domestic battery, or not domestic battery, but battery instead of domestic battery.
Simple battery, correct?
It's a plea deal, so he doesn't have the domestic battery charges. Both are misdemeanors.
Right.
So he pled down from 2 charges of that to simple battery, but he admitted in court that he struck a woman. So now you have the decision for Illinois. Where do they go with this? Josh Whitman told Lawrence Tate of the News Gazette that domestic violence is an intolerable offense. Now, is he speaking in legalese? Is he speaking in common sense? But I've said all along that if somebody strikes a woman, probably gone from my program.
Right.
That's probably where I would go. I asked you, is a semester suspension enough?
Probably not.
Is a year-long suspension enough?
Potentially.
Yeah.
And I think that might be one bit of recourse, to use another legalese term here. But one thing I would hope that Whitman doesn't do in a situation like this is don the lawyer cap and basically parse this thing where technically it's not domestic abuse, right? Legalese, it is simple battery, and then the domestic is not really an element of the crime that Kendrick will be charged with. So I guess you could get around like that, but I don't think Illinois fans would get on board with that. And it seems like the most part, and this is a straw poll kind of thing, that Illinois fans just don't feel very good about it.
We have our poll question on Twitter. What should be Kendrick Nunn's punishment by Illinois? 56% say dismissal, 8% year-long suspension, 20% semester suspension, 16% few game suspension. So 44% say should be back with some kind of punishment. 28 are saying some kind of harsher punishment, but 56% say he should be gone from the team.
Yeah, so between that and the year-long suspension, which it kind of surprises me how low that result is.
64% would be that.
Because a semester-long suspension to me, while that is still severe, you have him back for Big Ten play. And let's be honest, that's the most important thing. You can probably get through the non-conference schedule. But taking
what do you think is more likely? A semester or a year long?
I think a year long.
Because I think dismissal would be more likely than either of those.
This is something that I don't think that, especially in public, Whitman or Grosser would admit. But when you just look, again, from the on-court perspective, 2 birds, 1 stone here. In other words, you would be levying a very serious punishment to Kendrick Nunn. And then on the other hand, talk about an addition to next year's roster. Now, I know it's not necessarily right to think in terms like that, but you have to consider all things if you're in a position like Josh Whitman, and that would be something that, as a fan, it would seem like a serious enough punishment.
This is a big moment, not only for John Gross and where his program's going to go from here, but for Josh Whitman. I think more so for Josh Whitman. What kind of stance does he take against his entire athletic program? Does he prioritize bringing back a really good player? I'm a guy who loves second chances. I like to give people second chances, but do you need to set that domestic violence is one of those things that, as you said, is intolerable?
And it doesn't help Kendrick probably the fact that this will be the first chance for Whitman as an AD to make an example. And it's not about making an example of Kendrick Nunn. It's about setting a precedent for your entire athletic program.
Let's go with the 2 bits of good news.
Yeah.
I don't know which one's better, but I'll go with the one that happened first today.
Okay, cool.
And that's Dee Brown, who joined us last hour. Hope you heard it. If you didn't, get our podcast at ESPNCU.com, or you can download it on iTunes. Should be up already. But he's the new Illini Director of Player Development and Alumni Relations. He is a part of the Illinois staff as support staff. He cannot recruit off campus,
right?
But he can be part of the pitch on campus. He can't coach on the court during practice, but he can mentor these kids. He can get more alumni involved in this thing. And I already saw Brian Cook tweeting at Josh Whitman. So things like this, I think, is only a good thing. I know it's probably pretty awkward for that staff. When Dee Brown came in here, fans are calling for one of the assistants to be fired so Dee Brown can be in here. I think everybody wins in this. I think Dee Brown wins because he gets some seasoning. He gets the start in his coaching career. And I think John Gross wins because he gets to keep the staff the way he wants it, which it should be. If you're going to have a head coach, let him make those decisions. But also Josh Whitman gets Dee Brown involved in the basketball program, and they can reap the benefits more than just spreading them out in the entire athletic program.
Whatever petty awkwardness there might be between the assistants and Dee, which Dee kind of discounted on the interview with us, is superseded by the fact that you have the face of Illinois basketball all time now as part of your staff. And yeah, it's a bummer that he can't go out and do some, in-home recruiting or something like that. But when we come to September, October, and those weekends where you line up these big visits for the 2018 class, or is that right? The 2018 class will be coming in this fall?
Oh, 2018.
2017, sorry.
2017 will be signing this fall. They'll play. It's 2017-18.
And just knowing how those home football weekends shake out, and now that Dee Brown, he was involved last year, but he's just going to be that much more hands on deck and truly a part of Illinois basketball here.
Joe Spencer, the football player, told me, he goes, I don't know how an Illinois basketball recruit sits down with John Gross, Dee Brown, and Josh Whitman and says no.
It seems like a very powerful trio right there, right. And I'm hoping it pays dividends, and who knows, maybe it could pay dividends with a certain someone who is up in Chicago right now. It'd be nice to have him on the team next year, just saying.
Oh, Charlie Moore.
Which fortunately Derek Piper in a bit will be able to kind of give us some
We'll
info
break that down a little bit more, but I think this is a good start for Dee Brown's coaching career. We brought up with him, Rogers is an assistant coach. Dee's now in the field at least to maybe land an assistant coach at some point. And then you got Rich McBride, who's coaching at UIS, I believe.
Quan Garris, you mentioned?
Quan Garris is coaching somewhere. Dion is. I don't know if Dion will be long in the coaching thing, but you're starting to get some Illini guys. We keep talking about who's coming up in the business that eventually an Illini can be a head coach. You're starting to get some options.
Hadn't had one in a long time, right. And it would be nice to think down the road that maybe you could actually use one of these guys to lead your own program. I think that's the only thing that's been missing from Illinois basketball is a homegrown guy leading the program.
Scott Nagy?
Oh, it's a possibility, right?
Just took a step up, yeah.
That's right. Where's he at now?
He's at Weber State.
And he was previously at South Dakota State University.
Yeah, Wright State.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, very cool.
But also, this is probably the biggest news.
It is.
Of the day.
I love
no
D.
offense to D.
I love D, but when it comes to Illinois basketball, we all want to see wins. We want to see an NCAA tournament appearance, and they took a huge step towards that goal today.
Mike Thorne Jr. is given a 6th year of eligibility.
Yep.
Huge for Illinois. We broke it down.
Huge.
I'm so, as Bernie would say, it's huge. This is big for Illinois because think of your front court next year. That's your strength. No matter what happens with Kendrick or Jalen Tate or Charlie Moore, you have a strong front court when now you have probably Malcolm Hill at the 3, LaRon Black at the 4, Mike Thorne and Mav Morgan at the 5. I mean, your rebounding was last in the Big Ten last year. Now you add LaRon Black, a very good rebounder, and Mike Thorne Jr., an elite rebounder to it. Mike Thorne can score in the post. Of course, you have injury concerns with him, but think of how strong that front court is now with those guys. Michael Finke goes back to his 4 spot. Kipper Nichols can play the 3. Malcolm Hill can play the 2. You are flexible. You are really flexible.
Sounds like a good team to me, or at least sounds like a good enough team to make an NCAA tournament. And when it comes to setting expectations, I don't want to go into the season with cloudy, what could this team accomplish? No, I would prefer to have some crystal clear expectations so we as fans and the media, whatever you want to say, kind of know going in that this team should be able to accomplish this as presently constructed. And even if we did the hypothetical, which we did in the 4 o'clock hour, that if Kendrick Nunn weren't on this team, what are the expectations for this roster? This, to me, with Mike Thorne, looks to be an NCAA tournament roster for a few reasons, but part of which would be a Big Ten where you should be able to sneak in the top half of it with that roster. And also the fact that you really don't have any positions of weakness. You don't have any glaring holes in that roster, and you're pretty good in the 2 deep.
Yeah, and if Charlie Moore came here, even if Kendrick Nunn's gone, your point guard position is really strong.
It'd be strong, and then Charlie Moore knowing how he can fill it up, and all of a sudden you have him and Jalen Coleman-Lands and Malcolm Hill and the ability to shoot, and that is something you would lose with Nunn, but you would certainly gain with Charlie Moore.
I mean, it's big because Mike Thorne kind of changes the way you play. You saw it early last year, even with all those injuries, you can feed a post guy, right? And the defense collapse, and that opens things for the shooters. You got a guy who gets a bunch of defensive rebounds that limits second chance opportunities, which was a huge weakness of Illinois last year. You got a guy who can dunk it and get easy buckets, which have been really difficult for Illinois.
It really was, and Maverick Morgan, as good offensively as he was last year, was much more to do. I mean, he had a couple dunks. He had some Mav dunks, but for the most part, he was more of a shooter.
Mav dunk.
Yeah, exactly. But now you got a pretty good 5 spot.
It's good. Drive Time presented by Honda BMW of Champaign. For new and used vehicles, stop by Honda BMW of Champaign at the corner of Neal and Burwash in Savoy, or visit online at drivechampaign.com. More Illini Hoops Talk with Derek Piper, IlliniInquirer.com. In studio next.
Some good news to talk about finally. Tay and J Show.
ESPN Radio Sports Beat. Here's Sarah Spain.
Monday night, the Thunder shocked the Warriors with a Game 1 victory on Golden State's home court. The Warriors coughed up a 13-point halftime lead, and their 42 second-half points and 14 fourth-quarter points were both lows for the postseason. Wednesday night, Steph Curry and company looked to bounce back to even up the series and avoid their first back-to-back losses of the year, regular or postseason. To do that, they've got to tighten up on defense to not only stop Kevin Durant and Russell Westbrook, but slow down the Thunder's supporting cast as well. More on that after this.
AutoZone presents Wash and Wax. Washing your car removes road grime and dirt buildup that can scratch your car's finish, while a good coat of wax helps protect that beautiful shine. And right now you can get 2 for $10 on your choice of select Meguiar's car care products. So visit your local AutoZone. With over 5,000 locations, the right supplies and good advice are just around the corner, so you can fix your car with confidence. Hoods up, America.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions and details in store.
Guys, when you buy your clothes at DXL, you look good. But you feel like a rock star. So if you want to look and feel like a... You'll find all the brands you love, waist size 38 and up, all in one awesome store. DXL, you're looking good. Right now, Harbor Bay cargo shorts are just $39.99 each when you buy 2 or more.
Neither Kevin Durant nor Russell Westbrook had a great overall game on Monday, as the two combined to make just 17 of 51 shots for their 53 points. After missing 9 of his first 10 attempts, Westbrook did turn it on in the second half, dropping 19 of his 27 points in the third quarter. Golden State would be happy with another performance like Monday's out of the Thunder's All-Stars, but only if they can figure out the rest of the lineup. OKC got a lot out of their supporting cast Monday, as Steven Adams put up 16 points and 12 boards and was a plus 19 for the game. Serge Ibaka added 11 points and 11 boards. Size was key for the Thunder as they out-rebounded the Warriors 52-44. OKC also got to the foul line 32 times, while the Warriors went to the charity stripe just 17 times. Most importantly, the Warriors have to return to what earned them 73 regular season wins: ball movement, players in constant motion, and getting multiple guys involved. And they've just got to shoot the way they have all year. They weren't necessarily taking bad shots Monday, they just weren't making a lot of them. And if you look at Golden State's 15 worst shot-making games this season, only twice did they follow them up with another really poor shooting performance. If they're back on target Wednesday, the result could be very different. Game 2 tips off at 8 Eastern. With the ESPN Radio Sports Beat, I'm Sarah Spain.
Angel Smiles Dental Care in Rantoul, offering general and cosmetic dentistry. Here's what one patient had to say about their experience at Angel Smiles Dental Care in Rantoul.
First of all, the price is wonderful compared to most places, and the customer service is so good. They are so nice, and they care. And they call you before your appointments. They call after to make sure you're okay. They make sure you're okay while they're working on you. They're just polite, and I love it. I've gotten my braces, and I also had my teeth cleaned and some fillings. And every tooth they went on, they asked me, "Are you okay? You need this? You need that?" They just make sure that you're okay instead of rushing through it like most places. I've had my teeth cleaned at other places, and they weren't as thorough as they are there. And they're just, I love the environment. Good vibes.
They're people that care about you and your smile. At Angel Smiles Dental Care in Rantoul, accepting the medical card for most services. For children 20 and under, call 892-8866 today. Are you looking for a twist to your average CD? Want to be able to deposit funds into the CD anytime for any amount? Then you want the Spring Saver CD at the Prospect Bank. Open a 12-month CD with a $500 minimum and earn 0.79% annual percentage yield, or an 18-month CD with $1,000 minimum and earn 0.90% annual percentage yield. Add money anytime in any amount. Open your Spring Saver CD today at the Prospect Bank, a division of Edgar County Bank and Trust Company. Equal housing lender. Member FDIC.
Hi, it's Stevie J. Start your day with me along with Diane Ducey, weekday mornings 7 to 9, here on ESPN Radio 93.5.
520 SportsCenter brought to you by Informed Athlete. I'm Nate DeSutter. For step-by-step help to transfer for college athletics, visit informedathlete.com. On a basketball, shooting guard Kendrick Nunn pled guilty to a single count of misdemeanor battery. The senior will avoid conviction if he completes the judge's requirements: 18 months of court supervision, 100 hours of public service, a $200 fine, an apology letter, and a partner abuse intervention course. nor word yet on any punishments laid down by the university. On a lighter side, instead of threes, Dee is now in charge of player development and alumni relations. The basketball team announced today that the legend Dee Brown is returning to the program, and his duties will include providing guidance to players, contributing to recruiting, and publicly representing the program. Chicago native Charles Matthews announced he's transferring from Kentucky. As a freshman, he appeared in all 36 of the Wildcats games, and many are wondering if Illinois, who gave him an offer last winter, is an option. It's official. Mike Thorne is back for 2016-2017. The senior big man went down with a torn meniscus after only playing 7 games and was granted a medical hardship waiver to return for his 6th season. Yesterday, the men's golf team heated up. Today, they exploded. They jumped past Florida to take the Kohler regional title by 4 strokes and will advance to the national championships for the 9th consecutive season. MLB, the Cubs, Sox, and Cardinals all lost last night, and they're going to have to get past the hump this Wednesday if they want a series win. The Cubs need to score some runs. In their last 2 contests, they haven't cracked the scoreboard until the 9th. Tonight, it won't be easy as they hope to get the offense going against the Brewers' best, Jimmy Nelson. The Cardinals' concern is still Adam Wainwright. The starter won his last 3 decisions but allowed a season-high 7 runs and 11 hits last time out. Facing a Colorado lineup that slugged 46 homers this season, getting Waino back on pace tonight is crucial. The Sox are looking to tie it up with the Astros behind the arm of veteran righty Matt Latos. His ERA has risen since his hot start, but he remains 5-0, is looking to keep his winning ways going for the White Sox. 520 Sports Center, brought to you by Inform Athlete.
Thank you, Nathan. This segment of the Tay and J Show brought to you by Spring Green. They have a special new offer for all new customers. I was doing yard work yesterday, and I was like, I really need to get the experts out here.
I'm not exactly a professional, so this sounds intriguing.
No, so go to the experts at Spring Green. New customers can save up to 30% off when choosing Spring Green's full program. They're in their 33rd year. They're probably better at this than you. So their local family-owned and operated Spring Green has been committed to beautifying your neighborhood through quality, service, and professionalism. Call JT and the boys at 359-2111 or visit spring-green.com.
It is the Tay and J Show. Mike Carpenter here with Jeremy Warner. We've talked a lot of NBA lottery, a lot of White Sox, the Blues, of course, losing 4-0. Oh, wait, we didn't talk about any of those things.
We had this stuff planned.
We did.
To talk about.
Other topics, we have like 7 of them, all loaded up, ready to go, but we haven't even touched on them because it's been a huge day for Illinois basketball. And for the most part, I think a net positive.
Yes, I would say so as well, but Illini golf as well. We talked with Mike Small in the 3 o'clock hour, and it feels like we didn't give him enough due. The Mike Thorne news broke while we were talking to Coach Small. He's like, oh, that's great.
Yeah, he was pretty excited about that.
That's phenomenal. So, yeah, Mike Small and those guys win the NCAA Regional 4th straight year. They've won the NCAA Regional, which there's no big prize for that, but it just shows how good they are.
Which basically, is that like a Final Four banner or like a Sweet 16
No, that's
banner?
more like an NCAA tournament banner.
Oh, okay.
Basically for them. But this is the 9th straight year they're going to the NCAA championships. I think 30 teams make it. So basically it's like winning the first weekend.
Okay.
It's basically what they did. But yeah, Illinois golf, I mean, Mike Small is the best at what he does. And hopefully this is the year. They definitely have the roster to do it.
Yeah, they don't need validation, but you know what? It would be nice. Yeah. And for a program that's been so good for the last decade plus, and for, like you said, the best golf coach in the nation.
Yes.
It's really more for him and the program he's built, and obviously for these kids, because they just keep coming in. It doesn't matter who it is. And the fact they had a bad month,
they're kind of like St. Louis Cardinals baseball players at this point, right?
Kind of,
just
aren't they?
Insert left fielder Hazel Baker.
Monday was like the 2012 Cardinals losing Game 1 in the NLDS, but you knew they were going to come back and beat Kershaw in Game 2. That's just what they do.
But today's focus is Illinois basketball, and in studio, can see him on the stream on YouTube. You can wave to the camera if you'd like. That's Derek Piper, IlliniInquirer.com. It's almost like, where do we start, Derek? I mean, this is one of the crazier days we've had.
Yeah, I was wondering if we're going to have enough to talk about, but obviously you guys have made it through.
Yeah, so far we've kind of won it.
Days like this are better though, because it's tricky because I like the day where we go a little bit off the rails, but a day with so much substance like this. And last Thursday, Derek, we talked about best case, worst case scenario as far as next year's roster is concerned. Before we get into potential recruits, namely one guy, Mike Thorne was part of this potential best case scenario. I was skeptical because it was the NCAA, but then when news like this comes down, this is just, it's nothing but good vibes as far as what it means for this team next year.
There's no question about it, and I'll be the first to admit that I was pretty surprised and shocked by this ruling. I know John Gross and the staff and Mike Thorne himself remained positive and hopeful throughout this, but it was kind of surprising. It's huge for this roster when you think about everything that he can be, and he averaged 12.5 points, 8.5 rebounds in the 8 games that he played last year. He walks out on the court at Indiana. He's hurt. He's not even close to 100%. He gets 9 points and 9 rebounds in 16 minutes.
Right.
And so you just think about what he can provide rebounding wise. When you think about, Michael Finke, Maverick Morgan, not guys that are great rebounders. That's really the biggest weakness of this roster when you look at it right now. And they were, in the 300s in rebounding margin overall, 13th in the Big Ten. There are 4 teams that were in the 300s in rebounding margin in terms of high majors. Their combined conference record was 11-61.
Well, we see what Michigan State's done and what they built over there, and a lot of that has been built on the idea that rebounding, we're going to dominate that with teams that maybe offensively weren't that great. But the exciting thing with it is that you have a Mike Thorne, not only is it the rebounding, but the fact he can get those garbage buckets. And Mav, while he did improve offensively, all of a sudden that 5 spot, what are we expecting? 20 points a game from it?
That's a good front court.
Yeah.
When you think about that post rotation, you go to the 4, you got LaRon Black, Michael Finke. Malcolm can play there, but I'd like to play him at the 3. Kipper Nichols, DJ Williams. You're starting to think about how to get these guys get minutes, and that's a great thing because it allows you to be flexible and allows you, if somebody gets hurt, if Mike Thorne got hurt again, you're still okay, right?
Yeah, it's a great problem to have with depth concerns. Having too much of it. Mike Thorne right now, you put him up with Thomas Bryant as 2 of the top centers in the Big Ten.
I was going to ask you that. It's like Swanigan, Bryant, and Thorne's probably really close
right there. Yeah, he has to be. And then it allows you to mix and match lineups, obviously, if you play Thorne and Michael Finke at the same time. That is really intriguing with what you can do. And Thorne, he attracts attention down low with everything he can do with the back to the basket, like Carp said, with garbage buckets. Michael Finke can really space you out, so it really allows them to do a lot of things, mix and match lineups, and it's really just such a huge addition bringing him back next year.
We were talking about how many wins he adds, the war, and we were sitting there like 3.
I said 5 to 6, which is maybe a bit much, but 3 to 4.
I think 3 or 4 could be, even if you don't have Kendrick. Like, say Kendrick Nunn is not on this roster, what is the expectation of this team?
Yeah, even if Kendrick's not back, you now have one of the best centers. You have one of the best players in the conference in Malcolm Hill. And it really depends on point guard. I think that's kind of the big thing. If Tracy's healthy, if Tijon's healthy. But even without Kendrick, you think this is an NCAA tournament team. Just now that you have that front court, you think top half of the Big Ten and an NCAA tournament team.
So Kendrick Nunn. We get a little bit, like I told Carp, halfway clarity here. His legal case is done. Obviously, he's got the probation, all those things, community service, but he pled guilty to battery, a simple battery charge. He had 2 counts of domestic violence against him, but during the process, he admits that he hit a woman. This is a big test, it seems like, or it's going to be interesting from the outside to watch how John Gross and Josh Whitman react to this.
Yeah, it's really a big decision for them, and obviously, they're guys who have gone on their word. They said that they weren't going to rush to judgment. They're going to let the legal process play out. Well, now you have some closure here with Kendrick, and I know, legal terminology, it's not domestic battery, but essentially, he hit a woman. Josh Whitman has said if that was proven through the courts, that's not something that would be accepted in the athletics program. So I know there's a lot of people who are assuming that this, plea of guilt, even different from domestic battery, is essentially Kendrick's, showing of the door. That's really up to John Gross and Josh Whitman to see, how they handle that. Obviously, it's tough for them. And I know some people are wondering, did he plead with the thought of he would be coming back? I don't know if that's necessarily the case because pleading now, he got out of potential jail time. And also, if he's not coming back at Illinois, it gives him more time to kind of figure out his next steps.
Right.
Well, I was thinking about that earlier today, too, if they were somehow tied together. And I thought, well, wait a second. With what was hanging over his head, I don't think you're going to make a decision.
There's more important things than Illinois basketball, the Kendrick Nunn right now, right?
I wouldn't think he would make a decision, or his attorneys would advise him of a decision based on, oh, by the way, if you do this, you might be able to get this from the basket. Yeah, I'd had that thought earlier today, too. When it comes to on the court next year, and I don't know if I want to transition too early into the Charlie Moore discussion, because I know we'll get there. But let's just say, hypothetically, no Charlie Moore. And at that 2 spot, so switching the on court, despite the severity of what Kendrick Nunn was convicted of, I guess, with this simple battery. Is there enough, you think, at the shooting guard position to overcome that? Or do you think it will be more reliant on the 5 spot and improved point guard play and a superstar like Malcolm taking even more on to overcome that? How do you think you can make up for production like that?
Yeah, I think you could argue that the addition of Thorne, based on the fact that you already have JCL on the wing, you could say that the addition of Thorne is bigger than what the subtraction of Nunn would be, even though Kendrick Nunn would be one of the best wings in the Big Ten next year. He averaged 15, and a half points per game last year. and he's a guy that can, obviously score in high volume. I think there is enough for this to be a tournament team. Is there enough depth? Obviously, that's going to test Aaron Jordan and see what you have there. Malcolm can play the 3, so you still got enough guys to surround the wing. But you really like the fact that you have Jalen Coleman-Lands there to shoot the 3 and play the 2, and you could even, if you get a Charlie Moore, maybe play Tijon and Charlie together.
So for those fans out there that don't have their scholarship grid all ready to go, like in their wallets or anything like that, we should offer that, by the way, on the website. What is the scholarship situation for Illinois right now?
Well, right now, as Kendrick Nunn is still there, he's still indefinitely suspended, but that still is attached with the scholarship. Jalen Tate, the same thing. LeRon Black's coming back. You got Tracy Abrams, which is assumed that he's coming back, so you kind of assume that his scholarship is there. Until there's a subtraction, there's no scholarship spot available right now. So if Kendrick Nunn is going to be kicked off the team, then you have one. If Tracy Abrams doesn't get his 6th year, then you have one. But right now you don't.
Before we get to Charlie Moore, we're going to tease that.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's what everybody wants to hear about.
I want to ask you about Dee Brown. That addition, that's good news. I know it's probably a little awkward for that staff that Dee Brown's around and that fans want him to be an assistant and maybe somebody to go. But what does that mean for this basketball program and for Dee Brown?
Yeah, I love the move for both sides. Obviously, with Illinois, he represents everything that you want from your team. He's a guy that's walked in those shoes on that campus. He understands the dynamic of being a major college basketball player. The challenges that arise there. Also, just being able to mentor Tijon Lucas. It's perfect timing for him to be able to come in and really provide. Be a mentor, sit down, watch film with him. Maybe he's not going to be an on-court coach, but if you think he's not going to be on the court, you're crazy. And for him,
it's open gyms and stuff like that, he can do that.
Exactly. And individual workouts, everything like that.
You can one-on-one with all those guys.
Yeah.
Good luck.
For sure. Yeah, right. He was even doing that this past year. So, and then for him, just to get his start in this profession, I think everybody understands with, his personality, his knowledge of the game. He's been there. He's played at the highest level. He's got a really bright future in coaching, and this is a great start for him.
This is probably a silly question, but do you kind of have your finger on the pulse about player reaction to this? I mean, did he build a rapport even within the last year with this current roster?
Yeah, I know I even joked with Malcolm, and he said he definitely pushed them in workouts in the fall. And I'm sure everybody loves this move. I even talked to Tijon this afternoon, and Tijon's real pumped about it. He said not very many people get to have, come into a situation where your mentor is an former All-American point guard. So,
right.
Bob Cousy Award winner.
Yeah, that's big time for him.
Derek, but when we come back, we'll talk about Charlie Moore.
Okay. There's another name out there, too, that I remember from a couple years ago, but kind of slipped under the it was around the DJ Williams thing, right?
Yeah, that's a tease, Carpenter.
Oh, well, hey.
We'll talk about it next with Derek Piper.
Tay and J Show.
Hello, this is Shane Coulter from Country Arbors Nursery. There isn't enough time in this commercial to tell you all the great plants and products that Country Arbors carries. I'll simply say we have 50 acres full to the brim with plants, thousands of shade trees, shrubs, and our own grown perennials and annuals. There's no bigger selection of plants in Champaign-Urbana. And Country Arbors also offers a planting service on every plant we sell. If we plant your larger tree, we'll guarantee it for 5 years. And if you want to plant it yourself and live in the Champaign area, we'll deliver it to the hole for free. Not just a driveway, but to wherever in the yard you're planting it. So come out to Country Arbors Nursery. You can find out more information and directions at countryarbors.com.
Hi, I'm Damon Hackelman, owner of CleanRite in Champaign. If you're looking for a trusted restoration service company, just look for the guys in the blue trucks. At CleanRite, we understand that life happens, and we're ready to help. Our experienced service technicians will provide you with not only a quick response, but also honest answers and advice. For water, fire, smoke, or mold restoration, we're there when you need us. Call CleanRite today at 351-4930. That's 351-4930. Or just Google CleanRite Champaign.
Guidance, trust, protection, service. It's the mantra of GTPS Insurance. Finding the perfect solution for you, guiding you through the options, helping you through a claim, and adapting to your evolving needs. Since 1997, GTPS Insurance has provided coverage for your car, your home, your business, and your life. As an independent broker, GTPS Insurance Agency will shop around until they find the right coverage at the best price. Contact a GTPS Insurance agent today at 359-9000 or visit online at gtpsinsurance.com.
Gander Mountain is the headquarters for all your hunt, fish, and camp needs. Right now is the prime time to get outside and do what you love. And we've got what you need to make your outdoor adventures better than ever. Don't miss the Red Tag Firearms event, where you can save up to 25% on thousands of rifles, shotguns, and handguns. Take advantage of our buy one, get one 50% off sale on all Gander Mountain camp chairs, as well as dozens of other offers happening throughout the store. We live for this. We live outdoors. Gander Mountain.
segment of the Tay and J Show brought to you by the Brian Hansen State Farm Agency. They offer it all. Auto, boat, homeowners insurance, planning for retirement, or maybe starting to think about college savings for your kids. Call the Brian Hansen State Farm Agency at 344-1900. That's the Brian Hansen State Farm Agency at 344-1900.
It is the Tay and J Show. That's Jeremy Warner. I'm Mike Carpenter with Derek Piper, and let's just get right into it. Charlie Moore.
Charlie Moore.
He's pretty good, right?
Actually, wait, how does Lon do it? He does it in the Jack Buck
The
fashion?
Jack Buck, Charlie Moore.
Charlie Moore?
Yeah, that's a crazy situation right now.
Fantastic.
Yeah, it's tough to get a read. I've talked to a lot of people. I know Charlie and his camp has stayed super quiet this week and even into the past weekend. A lot of people don't expect him to make a decision today. He doesn't have to. I know this is the last day of the signing period, but technically he doesn't have to sign a letter of intent. He can sign a scholarship agreement afterwards, but the clock is ticking because summer school essentially starts in less than 4 weeks. You kind of want to figure out where you're going to be going.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Oh, boy.
Well, what do we know? What do we know about this recruitment right now?
We know that 2 weeks ago he started a slate of visits. He went to LSU for an official. Then he went to Georgia Tech for an unofficial. And his final official was at SMU. Since then, Charlie hasn't really talked to anybody. He said that he was definitely going to visit Champaign before a decision was made. It was tough on Illinois' end because their hands were tied with no guaranteed scholarship available. And obviously that's important in this recruitment. He's not going to sign up for a place where he may not have a guaranteed scholarship.
Yeah.
So he's sitting back and waiting right now, from everything I've been told. And that's kind of where it sits right now.
Is it one of those weird situations? Because we've talked about Tillman and Goodwin. The longer this goes, the worse it is for Illinois. Is this the one where it's the longer this goes, it could be better for Illinois because maybe they'll have a decision on Kendrick Nunn? I would hope so in the next week and a half because he can't visit here for another week because of a dead period. Is it a version where it is better if this drags on a little bit?
No doubt about it. Like you said, there's a dead period that starts after today. 9-day dead period. So the earliest he could visit Champaign would be next Saturday. So if you have a decision on Kendrick Nunn and say he's gone, you have a scholarship spot, and this drags into next week, then you can possibly schedule a visit next weekend, get him on campus. There's positives for him to go to Illinois. Obviously to stay close to his family. His dad had the stroke around Labor Day weekend. He's still struggling with that. And then there's a great relationship with John Gross, Paris Barham. It's been established for a long period of time. So there are positives for him to be able to go to Illinois, and if that opportunity presents itself, the longer it goes, the better for them.
Well, and I hate to do this, but if Kendrick Nunn is gone, is that even a bigger... I mean, one, you got the scholarship if that's available, but two, is that even a bigger sell to Illinois where it's like, there's shots available. And you can play with Tracy, who can play the 2 a little bit, can play the 1. You can play the 2 a little bit. Tijan, you can play with him. Is that more of a sell?
I think so. He wants the ball in his hands. He wants opportunity to score. He wants opportunity to play. Obviously, Kendrick's a great player, and Charlie also wants to go to a place where he's going to win. But if Kendrick's not there and he gets that scholarship opportunity, also more shots, in his hands, I think that's a major positive for Illinois in terms of their sell and what they can be offering to Charlie.
And certainly the Mike Thorne thing doesn't hurt. I mean, in other words, if it's coming down to, and maybe it is, maybe it isn't, the caliber of rosters that he would be joining this fall, that to get a guy like Mike Thorne and then the other finalist, SMU, I'm guessing top 25 caliber team, depending on the talent.
Lost Nick Moore, so there's a lot of shots there. I'm sure.
True. And then the other one, LSU as well, which
probably has a lottery pick with Blakeney.
Yes,
possible. Right. So it'll be interesting.
Charles Matthews is a name, kind of a blast from the past. A couple years ago, maybe 3 years ago, was the last time Illinois fans even considered him, because I think it was his same class as DJ Williams, right?
2015.
DJ Williams committed early on in his junior year. And Charles Matthews was the other guy on the team, I think a 5-star, according to some ratings. Ended up going to Kentucky. Now he's transferring out. Is there anything there, or is it really early to even kind of gauge that?
Yeah, it's still pretty early. I know I was in Chicago 2 weekends ago, and Charles Matthews was there, and there was buzz going around. He's about to leave. Didn't really know for sure, though. Obviously, he was a top 50 guy. At one time was a 5-star, dropped down into the 40s range. I guess that's not good enough at Kentucky to play play all that much.
Unless you're Tyler Hewis.
Unless you're Tyler
that good.
Yeah. Him and DJ Williams were close friends, and I know there was a lot of talk about, DJ's committing, so now we get, Charles Matthews. It's going to be interesting with Illinois. Do they have a scholarship available? Also, he's a wing, not a major need right there. Mm-hmm. And also, if he would kind of fit into the 2017 guys in terms of you have to sit out a year and then come into that class. And if you want to wing in that group of guys, you want it to be Jordan Goodwin.
Okay. Right. And I sit there and go, if you can get Charlie Moore, that fits a bigger need than a Charles Matthews, right?
Oh, yeah. Charlie Moore definitely would be way over Charles Matthews.
And there's a couple recruits that we haven't talked about a lot. I mean, we talk about Goodwin and Tillman. Nothing new there, right? I mean, those are just big-time recruits.
No tidbits or buzz.
They're both really good.
I mean, yeah, there's nothing new there. But one kid I'm really interested in, and we have some highlights on the site, IlliniInquirer.com. No Gel Eastern.
You guys are so good at the plugs now, by the way.
Well, we didn't have any highlights of Javon Pickett for the longest time.
Yeah.
We finally got some of those. So if you want to see highlights of him, you can go to our site now. Because you couldn't even find them on YouTube or Huddle or whatever it was. So Ryan Easterling finally got some. But No Gel Eastern really intrigues me. It's a kid we don't talk about a lot, even though he's a 4-star kid, top 75. Michigan State's looking at him. What do you make of him as a prospect and as a fit in that 2017 class?
Yeah, he's like you said, he's a guy that doesn't get talked about enough. And a lot of that has to do with the fact that he was out all last summer with his ankle injury. He was out all summer. But he's really intriguing, really versatile, highly skilled. He's got point guard skills and like a 6'6" body, and he can do a lot of things, play a lot of different positions. I know he wants to play the point. Whether that happens or not, it depends on the situation. Maybe not a natural point. There's not a lot of natural 6'6" point guards, but he can do so many things really well. He can rebound. He can take it to the basket. He's got an improving lefty jumper. But yeah, as a point forward, a versatile option. Illinois is in there, and they've definitely prioritized him more this spring. They had an in-home or an in-school visit with him and his mom this spring, and he hasn't cut anything down in his recruitment. I know he wants to do that later in July, and then have 5 schools after the AAU period. But definitely one to watch for the Illini, and he would fit into that mix. You know, you think about him, Jordan Goodwin, and possibly a Charlie Moore or even Jalen Coleman-Lands in the backcourt.
And DeMonte, right? I mean,
DeMonte as well.
Could he fit in with, a guy like DeMonte and a guy like Goodwin?
I think so. The more guys, you don't have to have natural points out there, just the more guys that can handle the ball and be skilled and do different things, that helps your roster big time.
How about Justin Smith, the kid out of Stevenson? Again, highlights on IlliniInquirer.com.
Really? Here, let me write that down. What's that again?
He's a different kind of player, the kid out of Stevenson, and that recruitment's been pretty quiet compared to all these other ones as well.
Been very quiet. I know me and Ryan agreed on our spring superlatives that he was the most improved of the Illini targets this spring. Really a different player on the spring circuit compared to last summer. He's been more assertive, more aggressive. He's explosive. He's really finished some pretty highlight-worthy dunks. Once again, IlliniInquirer.com will have that for you. And he's just got a lot to offer as a 6'6", 6'7" wing. Offensively, he's really good, really skilled. A different kind of player when you talk about Nogel or Goodwin. He's a pro-style wing, essentially.
Who's in there? Is Illinois entrenched in there?
Illinois is in there. They prioritized him. I know there was talk about a little cooling last summer. He didn't have a good summer. Both of his parents went to Illinois. They're in there. They're working that one. Indiana's in there as well, but they're prioritizing other guys like Chris Wilkes and Paul Scruggs, in-state guys for them, Jaren Jackson. And then Villanova came on with an offer, and obviously he knows the point guard over there pretty well, and Jalen Brunson. So if they really want him, that's another place that makes sense for him.
All right, so basically, are there any other 2017 guys to keep an eye on? I mean, the Tillman Goodwin thing we talk about every time, as we should, because those guys are the priority. Nogel Eastern, Justin Smith, 2 guys that are kind of emerging as I don't know if alternatives is the right word. That kind of downplays how good these guys are. Any off-the-beaten path guys, maybe the Florida prospects, anything new with any of those guys?
Yeah, nothing really new with the Florida guys. I know they've continued to offer more and more. Victor Yu, as we called him last week.
I can't. We still have not technically figured out his last
Lumo.
UA
Lumo.
Yeah, that's tricky.
Nawanui? Is that what his name is?
You see, it's tricky. It's harder to say than that.
Yeah,
it's really a tricky name. So okay, Victor Yu, and then also Trent Frazier. So nothing new on those guys yet.
Nothing too new there. I know Illinois had the in-home visit with Trent Frazier last month, and continuing to stay in good with him. And Dustin Ford's prioritizing him. If you don't get Charlie Moore, he's one of the top options for point guard in 2017. Theo John's a guy to pay attention to. Illinois has done a really good job there. He took that official visit to Oklahoma, but as we know, as time goes on past the visits, your odds decrease in terms of being able to get those guys. So Illinois and Marquette are kind of teams that are standing out for him and places that he wants to take official visits.
He's a big boy.
He's got a Big Ten body already.
Big man.
He's got a great name too. Theo John.
Yeah.
It's
How many
a good Big
Theos
Ten
out
name.
there anymore.
Not many.
You got a chance to go up to Joe Hendrickson's tournament, the All-Illinois invite, and you got to kind of look at more the 2018 kids, which we know Tim Finke is a phenomenal prospect. What else is in that state in 2018?
I'll start with my personal favorite, which is, they call him THT, Taylor Horton Tucker from Simeon. He's a 6'4" wing, but he's built like Jared Solinger. But don't let that fool you. I mean, he's really skilled, really quick, does a lot of things well, and I think
Baby Goodwin?
Yeah, I think he's got that potential. A guy that doesn't fit into a box when you think about positions, not maybe a natural wing, but he's got the opportunity to kind of surprise some people and rise up the rankings. I think him, Io DeSumo, another name that's kind of hard to pronounce. It's 6'3" point guard from Morgan Park.
Okay.
Them two, and Finke are the top 3 prospects in the state for 2018, in my opinion. DeSumo has really been impressive. He played up a level this past weekend while DeMonte Williams was hurt. He played on the 17U circuit and really impressed. Had one game over 20 points. He's really athletic and skilled and a playmaker. So got to see a lot of those guys. Kizo Brown was another guy I got to see. I know Illini fans knew about him early on. He didn't really play that much this past year at Simeon. Evan Gilliard was the point guard there. And Illinois kind of stayed involved, but they haven't offered.
There's a kid out of Normal in 2019. Have you seen this kid quite
Francis Okuro. Yes.
Tell our listeners about this kid.
Funny story, I saw him for the first time at 8th grade nationals like 3 years ago. He was playing with Tiger Campbell's team.
Would he have been in 6th grade then?
Seventh grade
Yeah.
7th grade nationals actually was what it was. Anyways, I just
scouting the 7th grade.
Yeah, my future 150 days. And then I saw him with the St. Louis Eagles. The St. Louis Eagles 16U team. I saw him this spring. He's a big body. I mean, he's around 6'10". He's going to fill out his frame. He's athletic. He runs the floor. He finishes around the rim. He's right now the top 2019 prospect in the state.
It's
better get in on him.
Just down the road. Caden Bates-Diop was just down the road, missed out on him.
Well, if things go well this season and everything stays intact, then, you hope to make inroads for a 2018, 2019 guy that, after that much time in the state, you hope that those connections are established.
We haven't talked about Juan's NBA draft lottery win last night, so I'm going to ask you, Simmons or Ingram, who should the Sixers go with the number 1 pick?
It's a good one. I'm going to have to go with Simmons. I'd team him up with Okafor. Hopefully you can get something rolling there. I just really like Simmons, everything he's able to do. His versatility is insane.
Who's winning the championship in the NBA? It's getting. I mean, tonight you got Thunder, Warriors game 2. The Warriors will probably win by 20 tonight. But then, I love the Thunder. I mean, that's a really interesting matchup. I just hope it goes 7. But the Cavs look like they're on a mission right now.
They are. They're not playing up to the same type of competition on the other side, obviously, and I'm biased. I'm pulling for the Warriors. I'm a Steph Curry fanboy. I'll admit that. And so I'm going to pick the Warriors.
I saw Kevin Love hasn't lost a playoff game yet because he never made the playoffs.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
Yeah, right.
Until last year, and then he had the shoulder injury, I think, in the first game or whatever it was. Yeah. So he's like 10-0 in the playoffs.
That's pretty impressive start. They are looking capable, no matter who comes out of the West, of beating them.
I love how the Eastern Conference playoffs have just been a warm up for LeBron.
Well, even ESPN though they tried to promote it as the Cavs have the throne. Now the Raptors. I mean, they couldn't word it. They couldn't even make it seem compelling.
No,
because everyone knows what's going to happen.
Last year, I think it was the Hawks, but LeBron just owns the East.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous right now.
Well, I'm hoping, and that game is 7:30 tonight?
Yeah.
Okay, very cool. I'm excited to watch that. But, Derek, hopefully next time we talk to you, I don't know, we got a dead period, right, coming up here?
We do, yeah. 9 days after today.
Okay.
And then they get a break, and then they get July, which is craziness.
Yes, it is crazy.
But as far as Charlie Moore is concerned, it probably would not go into July.
No.
Okay.
It will end before summer school starts. And as some parting words, I've covered this recruitment as long as anybody. I posted everything I know on the premium board today, IlliniInquirer.com.
Yes.
Oh, man. On that note, man, the master of the art of the plug, Derek Piper from IlliniInquirer.com.
Thanks, Derek.
Always fun, guys.
Tay and J Show.
It's me again, your home air conditioner. You know, the guy that keeps your whole house comfortable. That guy. Well, that's all about to end. I just don't seem to be able to keep my cool like I used to. How about a replacement here?
At Chief Bauer Service Experts, get up to $2,300 off a qualifying complete home comfort system upgrade and save up to 50% on your energy bills. For expert service guaranteed, call 866-EXPERTS or visit chiefbauer.com.
For 15 years, Bosworth Roofing has provided East Central Illinois with superior service. Whether it's a small repair job or a brand new roof, your complete satisfaction is their goal. Call Bosworth Roofing at 841-2219. That's 841-2219. Or get a free estimate at tallguyroofing.com. No subcontractors, no commission, no high-pressure sale. Just high-quality work from people who care. Call Bosworth Roofing at 841-2219 for your free estimate today. That's 841-2219.
Brick's Wood-Fired Pizza in Champaign isn't your typical pizza joint. Their dough is made fresh daily, only with the best ingredients, sauce, and cheese. Stop into Brick's for their daily lunch special. A half pizza with your choice of salad or soup for just $7.95. With gluten-free and vegan options, Brick's has pizzas to satisfy anyone's taste buds. Brick's also has hot and made-to-order sandwiches along with freshly made salads and pastas. For dinner, make it Brick's Wood-Fired Pizza at the corner of Neal and Devonshire in Champaign.
Hi, it's Corey Mathis from Max Twin City Recycling. This year marks our company's 65th anniversary. Today, just like in 1950 when my great-grandfather started the company, Max Twin City is still family-owned and operated and striving to give you the best customer service in the area. We recently finished construction of our new building, making metal recycling cleaner and more convenient, and we still pay you the same great prices on steel, aluminum, brass, and copper. Come visit us on North Lincoln Avenue, just a half mile north of I-74, or find us online at maxrecycling.com.
This is Chuck Lee with Provident Financial Group. What will you do during the next market correction? At Provident, we believe a sound financial plan is the surest way to avoid panic during market volatility. Contact us today to put a plan in place for you. Securities and advisory services are through Commonwealth Financial Network. Find us online at ProvidentFinancialGroupLLC.com. Member FINRA SIPC, a registered investment advisor.
When you're heading home, Tay and J are on your way talking sports. Weekday afternoons 3 to 6 here on ESPN Radio 93.5.
It is the Tay and J Show, and what a Tay and J Show it was. Mike Carpenter with Jeremy Warren. Well, it's you and Lon, so that's going to be kind of anticlimactic. I don't know. Do whatever you want. We will have, I believe, Rick Allen from InformedAthlete.com is going to hop on real quick tomorrow just to kind of add a little bit of clarity to what might have been the NCAA's decision-making process. He's had a lot of experience with that sort of thing, sort of like Ryan Squire over at Illinois that's been handling all this. And crazy to think that you published that story about Mike Thorne. What was it, about 1:30 this afternoon?
About noon.
Okay.
I talked with Ryan. He said it should be close, and maybe he knew it and just didn't want to tell me. But we did say earlier in the show how like the Dee Brown news was kind of like PR 101. You put that out first, then the Kendrick Nunn news.
And we don't know that for sure. But.
Well, right, and that's the thing. I'm told by Illinois that we did not plan all these things. It just happened. Even if it didn't, whatever. But it is a huge Illinois news day, and two of them good. One of them we'll see, but it doesn't seem like it's very good.
And the thing is, though, even though that news about Kendrick Nunn is not good, and it's terrible that this happened, he admitted to striking a woman. It was reduced to simple battery, but that's still a misdemeanor, and he's going to have to go through certain things, community service hours, letter of apology, things like that.
But are all misdemeanors created equal in Illinois' eyes?
Well,
Laurent Blacks pulled out a knife, and that's really serious. But is it different than hitting a woman?
I think you can rank crimes, right? I think you can, and I think it is okay to have a different, I think moralistic things can come into play here as far as what is worse. And it's not good, and it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out. I'll be honest, it seems like a very obvious choice to me.
Yeah.
If Whitman's going to say that to Lauren Tate in that article about we will not tolerate this, then there you go.
Which I think is the right stance.
That is the right stance. And it's not just to keep up with the Joneses or follow this new movement
it's
since
Ray
Rice.
It's not this liberal agenda, whatever it is. It's just, you shouldn't strike a woman.
It seems pretty universal.
A woman shouldn't strike a man either.
No.
But I think we really need to take a stand against that and end that in our history. I mean, because obviously history has said this happens a lot.
A lot of the goodwill
that
we had goodwill built up today between Dee Brown and Mike Thorne. It's a good day to be an Illini fan, Illini basketball fan, because next year's team is going to be better and the future of the program is brighter with Dee Brown as a part of it.
Yep.
You lose goodwill if you rescind on what you said about how you would deal with domestic violence issues. And if it is because of legalese that they go back on that would be very disappointing.
Found this loophole to get around it.
Yeah,
it's
which
that
honestly would surprise me. That would surprise me, and I hope that is not the case because I would lose
Well, here you go.
It would stink.
The fans spoke today, and this is what they said. What should Kendrick Nunn's punishment be? 55% said dismissal. 8% said year-long suspension. 20% said semester suspension. 17% said few game suspension. I think the most likely are either dismissal or semester suspension.
Yeah.
I think one of those is the more likely, but I think most fans are behind Josh Whitman taking a huge stand here and saying we will not accept this in our program. It's not saying Kendrick Nunn's a terrible person.
No.
He is an outcast, blah, blah, blah.
It's an awful mistake, and it's certainly...
And I believe in second chances, but it's more about setting the standard of what your program should be.
Right. Great show today. Mike Small joined us at 3:45. They're going to the Nationals. No big deal. Again. Illinois golf. Yep. Dee Brown at 4:30. Derek Piper, of course, in studio the last couple of segments. The news, of course, Kendrick Nunn, simple battery is the charge. He pled down from 2 charges to that. Dee Brown, of course, part of John Gross's support staff. And Mike Thorne gets a 6th year.
Get the podcast, ESPNCU.com. Find us on iTunes. It's all powered by GTPS Insurance. Thanks to Nathan DeSutter for doing these sports center updates today.
Excellent job as always. It is the Tay and J Show.
Gander Mountain is the headquarters for all your hunt, fish, and camp needs. Right now is the prime time to get outside and do what you love. And we've got what you need to make your outdoor adventures better than ever. Don't miss the Red Tag Firearms event, where you can save up to 25% on thousands of rifles, shotguns, and handguns. Take advantage of our buy one, get one 50% off sale on all Gander Mountain camp chairs, as well as dozens of other offers happening throughout the store. We live for this. We live outdoors. Gander Mountain.
You're right. When carrying a concealed firearm is protected with the correct holster. On Saturday, May 21st, High Caliber Training Center in Urbana will host Black Rhino Concealment, makers of custom Kydex firearm holsters. Their portable molding station can fit your carry firearm by the end of the day. All holsters are made in the USA and specially molded to each handgun. The lifetime warranty is just the start of their customer service. For more information, contact High Caliber Training Center. High Caliber Training Center, where your safety comes first.
The Urbana Business Association and the Illinois Grape Growers and Vintners are excited to present the 3rd annual Uncork Urbana Wine Festival on Saturday, June 18th. You'll have the opportunity to sample all locally produced wines from over 15 different wineries found in the state of Illinois. In addition to the delightful wine varieties, Uncork Urbana will provide musical entertainment throughout the day and an array of local food trucks. Join us in the Busey Bank parking lot located at the corner of Race and Main in Urbana. For more information and ticket prices, make your way to the UBA or visit urbanabusiness.com.
Eat, shop, play, explore. Rediscover Campustown every Thursday from May 19th to August 11th during 13 Thursdays. Join CU Adventures and Brainstorm Escapes. May 26th for brain-teasing fun. Put your mind skills to the test for a chance to win a grand prize with the new puzzle game CU Brainstorm Adventures, sponsored by Cinema Under the Stars. You'll also sample delicious barbecue while you solve clues on the go. Grab your friends and register at ChampaignCenter.com. 13 Thursdays is presented by the Champaign Center Partnership and the Urbana Business Association.
Legends Golf Course and Driving Range in Southwest Champaign offers something for golfers of all levels. The 9-hole executive course is great for anyone seeking a quick round of golf at an affordable price. Check out league nights, schedule a private outing, or your company's next team building event. Junior players can learn the game through camps while honing in on their skills in a fun environment. Relax after a round in the newly renovated clubhouse while catching up on golf tournaments or baseball on one of their 6 televisions. Legends Golf Course and Driving Range. Visit them at legendsofchampaign.com. If you thought of building a home, the time may never be better. The City of Urbana is offering a property tax break that will save you thousands. And Stone Creek has some of their lots available for a limited time at only $30,000. Together, it will save you tens of thousands of dollars when you build your home in Urbana. You have to check this out. Go to buildinurbana.com. That's buildinurbana.com. Live from the Habib BPC Studios, this is WSJK Tuscola, Champaign-Urbana, your home for the St. Louis Cardinals.
I'm Christine Lisi. At this hour, the